This page of Dreamcast Magazine is the cover promoting the upcoming release of Sakura Wars 3, promising an early look at the game. It highlights the Dorimaga GD bonus disc and a telephone card featuring a special illustration by Hidenori Matsubara. Featured games also include Phantasy Star Online version 2, EVE-0, and mentions Game Boy Advance titles like Choo Choo Rocket and Sonic Advance with developer insights. The cover also lists 10 key contents of the Dorimaga GD Volume .11, including Sakura Wars 3 and World Series Baseball 2K1. The magazine issue date is March 30th, 2001. This page is the contents page for Dreamcast Magazine and its bonus GD-ROM, Dorimaga GD Volume .11. The GD-ROM features playable demos and movies including Sakura Wars 3, World Series Baseball 2K1 Trial Version, Power Jet Racing 2001, Bounty Hunter Sarah, Holy Mountain no Teiyu, Eldorado Gate Volume 4, NFL 2K1, NBA 2K1, Wild Riders, Eternal Arcadia with download data, and Guru Guru Onsen also with download data. There's a reader's prize for the Sakura Wars 3 cover, offering a telephone card illustrated by Hidenori Matsubara. The magazine includes a section on Sega developers discussing Game Boy Advance titles Choo Choo Rocket and Sonic Advance. There's also a 100th anniversary special project for Anime Monogatari, which includes a DVD. Other articles include an exploration team investigation into Dorimaga Y, a special report on upcoming Dreamcast games, new information on Phantasy Star Online version 2, Sakura Wars 3, EV-0 Complete Edition, Spring Rain Sunny Day, and a new section called Descrim Zone OX. Finally, there is a guide explaining the various icons used throughout the magazine for features like VGA support, VM compatibility, data downloads, network play, and different controller types. This page is the game index for the magazine, listing games alphabetically. Featured titles include Atsumare, Guru Guru Onsen, EVE-0 Complete Edition Arc of the Matter, Noise, Skies of Arcadia, NFL 2K1, NBA 2K1, Eldorado Gate Volume 4, Cul-de-Sac 2nd, and Close to Inori no Oka. The index continues with Sakatsuku Special Edition, J-League Pro Soccer Club Wotsukuru, Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning?, Sega, Death Crimson OX, Western Wind Rhapsody, Resident Evil Code, Veronica X, Bounty Hunter Sarah, Holy Mountain no Teiyu, and Harusame Yubi. Further down are Power Jet Racing 2001, 100 Sword, Phantasy Star Online, Version 2, Fish Eyes, Wild, Love Hina, Smile Again, Le Mans 24 Hours, World Series Baseball 2K1, Wild Riders, Sonic Advance, and Choo Choo Rocket, with page numbers listed for each game. There is also a section for NAOMI 2 and Game Boy Advance games. This page is about upcoming events related to Sakura Wars. There is a pre-release event for Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning?, being held the day before release at Ikebukuro GIGO in Tokyo, running until the morning. Fans can celebrate, sing Sakura Wars songs, enjoy drinks, and play games all night. There's also an exhibition covering 20 years of Red Company's history in Tokyo, showcasing titles like Mashinhiro Wataru and the Sakura Wars series, featuring events with voice actors. Finally, it mentions a Sakura Wars card game event at Card Game Festa, with a talk show by Taiyo Okura, the voice actor for Ogami Ichiro, and signed card giveaways for lucky fans. The next page advertises the Dream Call internet phone service for PC and Dreamcast, launching on March 15th. It details calling rates and payment methods and highlights the associated website. Moving to events, there's an announcement for a Daytona USA 2001 online tournament on Dreamcast, scheduled from March 20th to 27th, with prizes for top players. There is also a Fan Appreciation Day event in Akihabara on March 25th, promising new game announcements, including potentially for PS and Game Boy titles, and a lottery with prizes. A campaign for the Game Boy Advance version of Choo Choo Rocket is featured, where completing the puzzle mode enters players into a draw to win a trip to Florida. The GameSpot news section highlights upcoming titles like Evar Grace 2 for PS2 and mentions preparations for TGS and the GameSpot Awards. Finally, the news ranking section lists top news stories, including the Game Boy Advance announcement, the end of 5.25-inch floppy disk sales by Hitachi Maxell. A PS2 Net to Para experience event, an increase in TGS exhibitors, and the WW programming contest results. This page previews several upcoming events. The Yushu King Finals for the Derby Owners Club arcade game tournament will be held at Shibuya Jigo on March 20th, following 2 months of preliminaries. The Capcom vs. SNK Millennium Fight 2000 Dreamcast tournament, Fighting Knuckle to the Next Millennium, will take place at Plaza Capcom Kichijoji on March 18th, offering prizes. The Card Game Festa 2001 First is scheduled for Tokyo Joyopolis on March 4th, hosted by B Japan, with expected attendance of 7,000, and featuring card game sales and special shows. In gaming news, Konami and JAL are collaborating on health-themed products, like Health Orchestra, allowing users to earn JAL mileage. Finally, a matchmaking event, Chance of Meeting, will be held at Fukuoka JP Joy Palace on March 17th and 29th. This page highlights several promotional campaigns and events. For the arcade release of Mr. Driller G, Namco is running a campaign in their AM stores offering original goods as prizes, including Driller Daco balloons and Driller G character seals. In a goods and presents section, readers can win a Person's Logo tote bag, commemorating the release of their 13th album Apollo on March 16th, or sets of issues 2 and 3 of the stone-attached magazine Treasure Stone. The Dream Mag recommended weekly events section lists a few events. Masked Rider World 01 at Expoland in Osaka until June 10th, showcasing Masked Rider history and performances, and the 01 Tokyo Toy Show from March 22nd to 25th at Tokyo Big Sight, featuring toys from various manufacturers. There is also a Seaman Mail software campaign on esao.net EAMAIL until April 30th, giving away C-Mail Ver 1.00J software, allowing users to have a desktop Seaman. Finally, the page mentions the re-release of the movie Silence of the Lambs and promotes the upcoming movie Hannibal, which is set for release on April 7th, noting Ridley Scott as director and starring Anthony Hopkins and Julianne Moore, mentioning the story picks up 10 years after the Buffalo Bill case, with Clarice Starling again involved with Dr. Hannibal Lecter. This page is an advertisement for 2 Phantasy Star Online guidebooks. The top part promotes the Phantasy Star Online Perfect Guide, highlighting it as the strongest one book for all hunters, boasting valuable data and information. It's priced at 1,800 yen plus tax, is a 5 size, with 272 pages, and full color. The guide covers character creation, strategies for all areas by occupation, hunter guild quests, detailed item lists including special weapons, and developer interviews. Below, another guidebook, Phantasy Star Online Navigation Guide, focuses on Exploring Rigol starts from here. It's priced at 1,200 yen, a 5 size with 112 pages, and full color. This guide promises useful strategy information for hunters, detailed explanations from character creation to network connections, information and techniques for both online and offline play, game flow strategies, basic combat methods, and weapon and item data, along with technique explanations. The Dreamcast Weekly Top 10 Sales Ranking features a diverse selection of games. Fire Pro Wrestling D takes the top spot, praised for its wrestler roster and D-Mode. Phantasy Star Online is second, driving console sales, with anticipation for its update. Sakatsuku Tokudaigo J-League is third, capitalizing on soccer fever. Now, Macross M3 at fourth features impressive artwork. Arrow Dancing Eye, Arrowwings 2, is fifth, with the producer's online addiction as a highlight. 100 Swords, at sixth, is followed by Rhapsody of Zephyr, at seventh, recommended for its atmosphere. Sakura Wars 2 comes in eighth, with limited edition concerns. Guilty Gear X is ninth, with hopes for a sequel. And Virtua Tennis rounds out the list at 10th, with a warning of heated online matches. Dreamcast Magazine's reader poll reveals the top 30 most anticipated pre-release games. Topping the list is Sakura Wars 3 is Paris Burning, praised for its features. Mobile Suit Gundam, Federation vs. Xeon, and Shenmue 2 take second and third place, respectively. Shenmue 2 is highlighted for its visuals and gameplay, with a unique photo for money mechanic. The weekly pickup focuses on Phantasy Star Online Ver. 2, emphasizing online keyboard support and new content. Other notable titles mentioned include Powerjet Racing 2001, and Death Crimson OX. The ranking includes a variety of genres, from action and racing to RPGs and visual novels, featuring titles like Crazy Taxi 2, Sonic Adventure 2, and Biohazard Code, Veronica Complete Edition. This page presents two different game rankings and weekly game highlights. The first ranking is the Dreamcast Desired Porting Top 20, a reader poll of games they wish to see ported to the Dreamcast. At the top is Air, followed by Nights into Dreams, and To Heart in third place. The second ranking is the Video Game Income Ranking Top 15, which lists departing arcade games. Derby Owners Club 2000 is at number 1, with Virtua Fighter 3 TB and Virtua Striker 2 Ver.2000, following in second and third positions respectively. The weekly pickup section highlights Air Treks, showcasing a screenshot of the game with cool action and tricks within a skateboarding and custom board theme. The text encourages players to try out the deep action and rewarding trick system, suggesting even beginners can become pro skaters. The Coming Soon section features Taiko Drum Master, showing a screenshot of the rhythm game with its drum-based controls. The description emphasizes the fun and engaging rhythm gameplay, stating it's a sport for everyone, from beginners to experts, perfect for enjoying with friends. The Dreamcast release schedule for 2001 includes numerous software and hardware releases. March features games like EVE Zero, Sakura Wars 3, and sports titles like NFL 2K1 and NBA 2K1. Subsequent months see releases such as ESS, April, Sports Jam, May, Desukira Muzan OX, June, Fantasista Star Online, Ver.2, July, Pia Heart Carrot EU Koso 2.5, August, and Eldorado Gate installments in September, October, and November. Several games lack firm release dates, including Power Smash 2, Florigan Brothers, and Magic: The Gathering. Hardware releases in March 2001 include Sega Gaga Gaga Visual Memory, Home, a karaoke set, and colored shells. Additionally, Sega is supplying titles to other consoles. For PlayStation 2, games like Sakura Wars Series and Virtua Fighter 4 are planned. Choo Choo Rocket is scheduled for Game Boy Advance in March 2001, with Puyo Puyo DA and Sonic the Hedgehog Advance also planned. This page showcases the Dreamcast Reader's Race, a weekly reader ranking of Dreamcast games. The top games include Soul Calibur, Phantasy Star Online, Azel, Panzer Dragoon RPG, Resident Evil Code, Veronica, and Skies of Arcadia. Other ranked titles are the Japanly visual novel Canon, Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, Let's Play Golf, the Japanly Blue Submarine No. 6 Time and Tide, the Japanly J-League Pro Soccer Club Wotsukaru, Poppin' Music 4 App and Disc, Grandia 2, Poppin' Music 4, the Japanly visual novel Never 7 The End of Infinity, Sonic Adventure International, The Typing of the Dead, Aerodancing F, Revolt, and the Japanly visual novel Complete Urban Planning Beautiful Girl Bus Tour Guide. Featured as new arrival Honest Horses are reviews for two new titles, Fighter Wrestling R and Street Fighter 03 for matching service. Fighter Wrestling R achieved a total average score of 9.1815 and a reader average of 8.0. Reviewers praise its character download feature and depth. Street Fighter 03 for matching service received a total average of 8.9815 and a reader average of 7.33, with reviewers highlighting its online play and new features. The What's Coming Up DC section discusses the current vibrant state of the Dreamcast, noting its continued popularity despite its age. It mentions Sakura Wars 3 as a major title contributing to its success, and hints at upcoming games like Sonic Adventure 2, further solidifying the Dreamcast's future. This page continues the Dreamcast Reader's Race rankings. Moving on to highlighted titles, Aerodancing F is praised as the ultimate air combat simulator, resolving previous player frustrations and offering exciting online battles, even for players without high-spec PCs. Macross M3 is reviewed as a fun and accessible flight shooting game, enjoyable for beginners with easy controls and satisfying special moves and strategic depth. Never 7 The End of Infinity is highlighted as a top-ranked new title, lauded for its engaging network features and novel gameplay, particularly its online play and compelling story. Lastly, Eldorado Gate Volume 3 is mentioned as strengthening its appeal as a cooperative RPG in its third installment, expanding its world by utilizing previous game data, though it may be less accessible for players new to the series. This Dreamcast Reader's Race page spotlights highly rated games with short reviews. Let's Golf 2, new challenge, offers simple controls and improved character interaction. I'm Doraemon, provides an enjoyable story and gameplay for fans. Memories Off Complete, impresses with its save management, touching story, and presentation. Detective Saburo Jinguji Dash is praised for its story, music, and atmosphere. Guilty Gear X features smooth controls and impressive graphics, despite some content concerns. Daytona USA 2001 is lauded as a great remake with graphical enhancements, though some find the analog controls less effective. The page concludes with a ranking table of Dreamcast software, listing 79 to 137 games by rank, with details including genre, publisher, release date, and average score. This Dreamcast Reader's Race Rankings covers games from rank 138 to 196, including titles like Blue Stinger, Capcom vs. SNK, and Power Stone 2. The focus, however, is Fighting Vipers 2. This 3D fighting game, released by Sega in 2001, is praised for its fast pace, armor destruction, and super KO moves. The game is recommended by the magazine with a 9.5/10 rating. The painful tempo section highlights its strategic depth. Comments from the writer, Tukyu Yukinare, and the maker echo the game's quality and exciting gameplay. Readers also praise the game's exhilaration, originality, and fast loading times, with one calling it a high-quality fighting game. The next page continues the Dreamcast Reader's Race Rankings, covering games from rank 197 all the way down to 291. The rankings are separated into sections E and F, highlighting movements and surprises within the list. The text emphasizes the unexpected climb of Ibuki Doraemon in Section B rankings, and the intense competition even in the lower ranks, specifically mentioning Neto de Jibara and Yamazaki. Among the games listed in these rankings, you can see titles like Monaco, Grand Prix Racing Simulation 2, Zombie Revenge, Shenmue, referred to as Rhapsody of the Century, Dynamite Cop, and Space Channel 5 in Section E. Section F continues with games such as Tetris 4D, Samba de Amigo, Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, Graffiti Kingdom, and Space Channel 5 Part 2, Ulala's Channel J. At the bottom right, there's a Now on Sale section showcasing games that are either newly released or soon to be available, creating excitement for upcoming titles like Grauen's Birdcage Chapters 4 and 5, German, Battle Beaster, and Neo Golden Dragon. The page generally provides a snapshot of the Dreamcast game popularity according to reader votes at the time. This page spotlights Dreamcast software and discounts. It features reader-ranked game reviews. Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, is praised for relaxation and visuals. Sonic Shuffle disappoints due to slow gameplay. Rent-A-Hero No. 1 receives positive reviews. Virtua Striker 2, Vir. 2000.1 is realistic but difficult. User comments celebrate price drops on older games. The page includes prediction games, focusing on Sakura Wars 3 and Eve Zero Complete Edition, with an entry deadline of March 22nd. Dreamcast peripherals and visual memory units are showcased, and a giveaway for survey participants is announced. The next magazine issue is a combined issue on March 30th, and past contest winners are also revealed. This page promotes strategy guides for 2 games. The top half advertises a strategy guide for UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championship, available for both Dreamcast and PlayStation. This perfect guide promises to help players master both stand-up and ground fighting with detailed move lists for all characters. It includes insights from Emperor Kuroda on fighting styles, photos from a UFC official photographer, in-depth coverage of the Edit Fighter mode, and reveals the secrets to unlocking hidden fighters. The bottom half is an advertisement for the Fire Pro Wrestling D, the Complete Strategy Guide, scheduled for release in mid-March. This guide aims to be a comprehensive resource, covering system explanations for beginners, detailed profiles and move lists for all 220 wrestlers, in-depth edit mode strategies, and a special appendix featuring a detachable operation list and wrestler edit notes. The guide emphasizes it reveals everything, with one page dedicated to each of the 220 wrestlers for thorough analysis. This double review covers 2 Dreamcast games. Shunyu Senyubi, Harusame no Melody, an adventure game, scored 6.33/10. It is praised for its art style, atmosphere, and replayability, but criticized for its calendar system. The review notes, the game's charm comes from its freedom and downloadable content. Biohazard Code, Veronica Complete Version, Resident Evil Code, Veronica X, earned a 9.0/10. This survival horror game excels in atmosphere, graphics, and user-friendliness. The review highlights the added event scenes, difficulty options, including a very easy mode, and overall value. Reviewers recommend this version, especially with pre-order bonuses, and note the Dreamcast version surpasses the PlayStation 2 version in visual quality. This page previews 3 upcoming Dreamcast games. Eve Zero Complete Edition, an adventure game, 7.0, offers a substantial story with multiple endings. While CG quality is average, its narrative depth, criminal motivations, and psychological portrayals are praised. Understanding prior series installments enhances enjoyment. Hourjet Racing 2001, a water racing game, 5.33, features unique water bike controls and a sense of speed, appreciated by some. However, it's considered niche with repetitive gameplay and lacking depth in trick mechanics. Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning, a dramatic adventure game, 9.33, stands out for character appeal, streamlined gameplay, and improved movie scenes. The game's immersive atmosphere, music, and soothing character interactions are highlights, making it enjoyable for both casual players and series fans. This page in the topics section features an interview with Mr. Inoetsu, a former game store buyer, about the Dreamcast situation in Japan after Sega announced the end of production and a price drop to 9,900 yen. Mr. Inoetsu, who had been working in Asia, returned to Japan and visited his former workplace, the game store Messe Sano. He observed that even with the production halt and price reduction, Dreamcast consoles and games, especially titles like Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning, were selling incredibly well at Messe Sano, even selling out. He notes that while PlayStation games like Onimusha and Devil May Cry are also popular, the Dreamcast still has strong appeal. He discusses his perspective on the Dreamcast hardware, acknowledging its charm and the strength of Sega software globally, but questions why Japanese games might be perceived as less interesting compared to international titles. He reflects on his time in Asia and how it changed his perspective on the Japanese game market and the appeal of Dreamcast. He mentions the Dreamcast section in Messe Sano is full of stock and very prominent in the store, indicating strong sales, and even peripherals and second-hand games are also selling well. Sega, despite reports, remains active, according to Mr. Inoetsu. He highlights the newly formed Customer Gateway Department, designed to improve fan communication and feedback. The Dreamcast price dropped to 9,900 yen, which, while challenging for profit, still saw strong sales, especially for software like Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning. Dreamcast Direct, Sega's online store, will continue operating, offering direct sales and services. The future of the gaming industry is predicted to be stable in the short term. 2 key points are emphasized: the Customer Gateway Department's launch to enhance customer relations, and the continued operation of Dreamcast Direct. Mr. Inoetsu also mentions a potential future report on the Dreamcast performance in India. This page is an advertisement for Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning, offering a special telecard set. Illustrator Hidenori Matsubara has drawn 3 unique designs exclusively for Dreamcast Magazine readers. For 800 yen, you can apply for one of these limited edition telecards. The application deadline is April 20th, 2001. The ad also includes contact details for inquiries regarding applications and telecard delivery. This page advertises strategy guides for various consoles from SoftBank Publishing. For Dreamcast, guides are highlighted for Aero Dancing in, Ultimate Fighting Championship, and Fire Pro Wrestling D. The page also mentions strategy guides for PlayStation 2 games, such as Suganai, Tekken Tag Tournament, and Densha to Go 3 Commuting Edition, and for Wonder Swan Color for Mobile Suit Gundam, Volume 1, SIDE7. Upcoming strategy guide releases for April and March are listed, along with highlights from the magazine, including content about Monster Rancher and Resident Evil Code, Veronica Complete Edition. There is also a mention of a telecard applicant service for PlayStation 2 games. Sega's development divisions are hiring, despite recent restructuring. Interviews with 10 studios reveal varying recruitment plans. WoW Entertainment seeks young talent with basic game development knowledge, emphasizing enthusiasm. AM2, known for Virtua Fighter and Shenmue, is undecided on hiring numbers but values passion. Hitmaker wants young talent with balanced personalities, emphasizing a love for games. Amusement Vision prioritizes communication and playful adults for console development. Sega Rosso seeks skilled programmers passionate about arcade games. Smilebit focuses on PC development, seeking ambitious individuals with strong communication skills. Overworks, a large-scale studio, looks for network knowledge and communication skills. Sonic Team plans to hire around 36 people, valuing communication and innovation. United Game Artists seeks interesting individuals with unique talent for design and programming. Wavemaster is hiring sound creators and designers with strong technical knowledge. Sega, despite economic challenges, is actively recruiting talented young individuals, particularly those with strong communication skills and a passion for games. Company information sessions will begin around mid-March. They seek individuals who understand networking and can offer fresh perspectives. Online applications, including aptitude tests and interviews, are the primary recruitment method. Sega values constructive input and informal communication skills alongside a love for games, emphasizing the need to contribute ideas beyond criticism. The company welcomes applicants from diverse backgrounds, with women comprising about 25% of recent hires. They're also hiring for the Dreamcast and amusement divisions, looking for enthusiastic candidates. This page is a preview for Phantasy Star Online version 2, announcing its release date as May 17th. The game will retail for 4,800 yen. The article highlights that version 2 addresses user feedback and introduces new content. It mentions new stages, such as a mysterious temple and a spaceship, and new enemies, including horned Hildebears and white Rappy-like creatures. Screenshots showcase gameplay with character stats and some of the new enemy types. This page continues the hype for Phantasy Star Online version 2, emphasizing the impact it will have. It announces brand new game modes are being added, including player versus player battles, and they are showcasing gameplay with characters at incredibly high levels, like level 156. Apparently level 100 plus characters are going to be a thing. The page also details the dual result screen showing a player battle, highlighting wins, losses, damage dealt, and damage taken. Rare items are also getting a massive boost, with double the variety, from cool to funny-looking items. And crucially, item loss due to communication errors is being removed completely, making item hunting much more appealing. They even show off some of these new items, one that looks suspiciously like a mag, and another very large umbrella item described as manly. Finally, the page teases information about the new game modes and compatibility with the original Phantasy Star Online, promising insights from Sonic Team's president, Mr. Naka, on these exciting new features. This page features an interview with Mr. Naka from Sonic Team, focusing on Phantasy Star Online version 2 and the concept of software growth for network games. Version 2 is described as a standalone game, not simply an expansion, but a significant evolution of the original Phantasy Star Online. Brand new stages are confirmed, including the Shrine, Spaceship, and areas from the original game. A player versus player battle mode is being introduced as a new feature. The level cap is being raised beyond level 100. And a very difficult Ultimate mode is being added for players wanting a greater challenge. Mr. Naka clarifies that there will be no new character classes in version 2, but it will be compatible with players of the original Phantasy Star Online. The screenshots illustrate gameplay in the new stages and the intense battles of the Ultimate mode, demonstrating characters going beyond level 100. Phantasy Star Online version 2, releasing May 17, 2001 for 4,800 yen, aims to improve upon the original based on player feedback. Key enhancements include an equipment change button, quick item/technique windows, and the elimination of item loss due to communication errors. A new battle mode allows strategic player versus player combat. Version 2 includes all original content, data transfer for returning players, and network compatibility with the original PSO. New additions feature a level cap increase to 200, new stages, Shrine, Spaceship, Ultimate mode, new bosses and enemies, more rare items, and rare mags. Developers focused on cooperative play and preventing item duplication. The update also features improved communication error checks. This page is all about the upcoming release of Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning, for the Dreamcast. The magazine is counting down to the release date of March 22nd, with only 6 days to go. It's celebrating with a 3-week special, featuring Sakura Wars 3 on the cover, and exclusively publishing the lyrics to the game's theme song. There's an announcement about release day events planned for Tokyo and Akihabara, and Ikebukuro Jiagyo, and in Osaka, at Nipponbashi. Anyone buying Sakura Wars 3 at these events will have a chance to win prizes in a lottery, such as signed posters and original QUO cards. The game is priced at 9,800 yen for the regular edition and 7,800 yen for the first edition. It's an adventure game developed by Sega and Overworks. First editions come in two types, A and B, which include different bonus sets. For more on the latest video footage of Sakura Wars 3, readers are directed to page 57 and Dorimaga GD, volume 11. The next page highlights the numerous bonus features in Sakura Wars 3. Is Paris Burning? Quote, a series known for its extra content. It mentions linked events, a feature from Sakura Wars 2 that continues in this game, focusing on Erika's storyline, where your choices and interactions affect trust and unlock events. A unique addition is the VMU minigame called Paris Pair. This vertical screen game lets you date members of the Paris Flower Division. By interacting with characters on the VMU, you build trust and unlock further minigames. It also features a card game element. Beyond VMU games, Sakura Wars 3 includes several in-game minigames, accessible to all team members. One shown is a ball-shooting puzzle game played by Kokoriko and Reni. Another minigame detailed is Crazy Rally, a shuttlecock rally challenge that increases in difficulty, demanding quick reflexes. Arrow Hitting Location is another minigame, where you shoot arrows at targets, with Suemeyer and Kana cheering you on. The page also describes post-game bonus content, including Parisian Elegant Day, which lets you explore Paris freely on a day off. Visiting the library unlocks event graphics from collected materials. You can also access homepage content using the kinematron in the game. Finally, Soaking in Memories is another post-game bonus feature where Mel in the Tertre Square shows you movie collections, allowing you to relive past events. This issue of Dorimaga GD focuses on Sakura Wars 3, highlighting new content. Weekly releases of high-quality movies are announced. First, Jean Leo, the maintenance chief, is introduced overseeing a mission. Then, the street clothes pod is detailed, allowing quick travel to the command center via Château Noir posters in Paris. Finally, the issue showcases sortie movies for the Flower Division. The movies feature anime and CG animation, showcasing each character's unique Kubu F mech head. Hanabi's black Kubu F is specifically highlighted, emphasizing her archery skills with the crossbow weapon and her impactful entrance scene. This page continues the Sakura Wars 3 feature, highlighting Erika's Zukoku scene. It details a humorous moment in the game where Erika, known for being a bit clumsy, is in a cafe with Ogami. Due to a waiter knocking over a parasol, Erika loses her balance and falls in a comical fashion. The page then moves on to introduce Kokoriko and her salmon-pink Kubu F in Sakura Wars 3. Kokoriko is shown performing maintenance on her mech, adding a personal touch with a cute cat mark on its left shoulder. Finally, Roberia and her Kubu F are presented. Roberia's mech, called Robelia, stands out with its imposing large claw and sharp, piercing eyes, described as a combat machine. Roberia herself is depicted as thoughtful and philosophical, with an unflinching gaze and a fearless smile, while considering the meaning of her actions. This page continues the Sakura Wars 3 feature and introduces more sub-characters in Paris. It highlights how trust influences the game, even with these sub-characters, affecting gameplay. We see Grandma, Mur, and Shimo, all shopkeepers in Paris. Grandma runs a general store, and her trust in the protagonist changes based on interactions. Mur is a waitress, and her trust level also shifts with events in the game. Shimo is a florist in the marketplace, and similarly, her trust in the protagonist is dynamic, depending on the player's actions. The page then describes locations in Paris, including Shano-Awaru Street Corner, which features a police station. The Epien police are mentioned, focusing on officers who maintain order and guard the city, including Detective Ogami. The church is introduced, focusing on Father Lune Reno, who is described as a kind priest who guides lost sheep and is often troubled by Erika. Lastly, the market is shown as a place that supports daily life with various goods. A character named Roland Ran, a gem appraiser, is introduced here. He is depicted as having a sharp eye for people's character, just like he appraises gems, and is a good-natured man. This page continues the Sakura Wars 3 countdown feature, highlighting more characters within the game set in Paris. It starts with Shano-Awaru, mentioning that characters who can influence trust levels, besides Gran, Ma, Mel, and Shi, exist even here. Jean Leo, the chief mechanic, is introduced as someone from the maintenance crew who appeared in the publicly released movie. He is described as usually being in the underground maintenance area and a bit forceful, but enjoys drinking and gambling. Next is Brumer, described as a maid from the Brumer family, who are Grigory's relatives and prominent noble family from Normandy. She lives in a large mansion in Montmartre and manages the maids. Televra Fukujin is the head maid of the Brumer family, described as a veteran maid and Grigory's caretaker. She is strict with maids, has strong pride in her work, and is very attentive to details. The Japan Embassy is then mentioned, located near the Brumer residence. Kawasaki Kendo, the Japanese ambassador to France, is introduced. He is typically fulfilling duties at the embassy, but is secretly connected to the Paris Combat Review. He is portrayed as usually calm, but a skilled commander in emergencies. Finally, Montmartre is discussed as a stage for life and the setting for the game, emphasizing the importance of building trust with the Parisian people through daily interactions. It hints at deeper emotional connections with the residents of Paris, not just city dwellers. Sakura Wars 3 is Paris Burning, meticulously recreates iconic Parisian landmarks. The game features a detailed Paris, where players can explore the Eiffel Tower, Place de la Concorde, with its Luxor obelisk, Notre Dame Cathedral, seen in the opening movie, the Opera Garnier, housing masked Colombo and grand interiors, and the Arc de Triomphe. The game also alludes to the European Exposition, suggesting the inclusion of advanced technology and possibly steam-powered robots. Screenshots and character dialogue boxes are utilized to show how these locations are integrated into the game and its story. The next page is dedicated to the opening theme song of Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning, titled Under the Imperial Flag. This song will be included on the Dreamcast Magazine GDROM. The lyrics are provided, written by Oji Hiroi and composed by Kohei Tanaka, with arrangement by Takayuki Negishi. The page also features comments from music director Kohei Tanaka, who discusses the soundtrack for Sakura Wars 3 and his approach to creating the music, stating that he aimed for a Japanese person's view of Europe, incorporating elements of Asian and African music. He also mentions another song titled Future, Voyage, which is the ending theme. He expresses confidence in the music and encourages players to enjoy the full soundtrack on CD. This page is a preview for the upcoming complete version of the game Sight Change, featuring characters Kojiro and Marina. It explains that this new version expands on the original story, which was initially planned to have multiple endings but was simplified during development. The complete version reintroduces these branching storylines, allowing players to reach different conclusions based on their actions. New scenes and improved visuals have been added, with adjustments made to graphic content due to platform rating differences. Key features of the complete version are highlighted as multiple endings, new visual content, and the presence of a third sight, or perspective, within the game's narrative. The story is described as a prequel set years before the first game in the series, focusing on a tragic event from Kojiro and Marina's past that shaped their future. A new character named Alka is introduced as someone who holds the key to the incident, and her perspective is added in this complete version, promising to reveal the full truth. Eve Zero Arc of the Matter explores the origins of Kojiro and Marina, key characters in the EVE series. The game delves into their pasts before their established roles, examining the events that shaped them. It depicts their initial meeting and a tragic incident from their student days, influencing Kojiro's path to detective work and policing. The narrative includes scenes that may evoke emotional responses. Kojiro's father's death and Marina's lonely childhood are also explored. The game uses the dangerous bridge motif to symbolize the characters' precarious situations. The prologue introduces a rainy crime scene where Marina investigates a bizarre murder case. The game will explore the perspectives of Kojiro and Marina as they investigate the events following this incident. Eve Zero is an adventure game, ADV, rated for ages 16 and up, with a release date of March 22nd. It will be priced at 7,800 yen or 420 points. In Eve Zero Arc of the Matter, the story follows Detective Kojiro Tenjo, working at Genmi Detective Agency. Kojiro is tasked by genetic researcher Jinka to find his runaway son, Makoto. Kojiro, a sharp detective, begins his investigation. Aided by his friend Sakamoto Banganga, he utilizes credit card records to track Makoto. He's also romantically involved with Yayoi, a freelance camerawoman who is independently investigating a murder connected to Jinka's institute, hinting at a complex conspiracy. The story also introduces Genmi Sangro, Kojiro's mentor, and details the dynamic between the characters. Kojiro successfully locates and protects Makoto with Banga's help at a game center. However, the narrative implies that this is just the beginning, with unforeseen events set to unfold, suggesting the case is more intricate than it appears. The next page delves deeper into the story of Eve Zero Arc of the Matter. Following a sudden attack where Kojiro and Makoto are caught up, suspicion falls further on Jinka. The narrative explores Kojiro's distrust of Jinka, stemming from questions about Jinka's background, including his connections to a large crime syndicate and a powerful sponsor. This distrust intensifies as Kojiro investigates his own father's death, suspecting Jinka's involvement, especially after learning Jinka previously worked with his father and built his current status upon his father's research. It suggested that Kojiro's parents' accident might not have been accidental at all. The story introduces a mysterious, beautiful woman who helps Kojiro and Makoto escape a dangerous situation. She is described as a skilled woman, possibly an ally or someone with her own agenda. This encounter leads Kojiro to investigate her motives, questioning if she is a friend or foe. The character file section focuses on Makoto Kashihara. It explains that Makoto is a troubled young man who shut himself away due to family issues and his father's actions. He is described as emotionally reserved and quiet, but starts to open up through his interactions with Kojiro and Yayoi. His surname comes from his mother's side of the family. Eve Zero Arc of the Matter centers on Marina Hojo, a public safety division agent investigating a politically charged serial murder case. Her character file portrays her as a highly successful agent with a rebellious streak. She is supported by her trusted boss, Jiro Kano, and her colleague, Yutaka Takashima, a coroner. The narrative hints that this initial case is just the beginning of a larger investigation for Marina. A separate section delves into Ruth's intentions, revealing her attempts to acquire research rights for the Fulbright Foundation. She's negotiating with a man and his teacher, but their research is kept secret, and the man is unwilling to share it, creating conflict. This page details the zapping system in Eve Zero Arc of the Matter, using a scenario where players switch between the perspectives of Marina and Kojiro. The first example, Side Marina, shows Marina investigating the disappearance of a young girl. And the narrative explains that players gather information in town from Marina's side of the story. Side Kojiro then shifts perspective, showing Kojiro observing a suspicious couple, possibly connected to the case. The text notes this is important evidence. The story then returns to Side Marina, where Marina learns about the suspect through Yosuke. Finally, Side 4 is from Kojiro's view, showcasing him apprehending a criminal. The page further describes the story after Toa's rescue. The day after, a second murder occurs at Toa's school, prompting a full investigation by Marina. That night, while driving Toa home, a car suddenly blocks their path in front of the police station. Men in suits attempt to kidnap Toa, leading to a car chase, which ends with the pursuing car crashing in a tunnel. The text questions the motives behind this attack. A character file section introduces Toa novelties. She is described as a girl who was helped by Marina after being harassed by perverts. Marina now protects her. Toa is portrayed as a cheerful and slightly airheaded girl who lives with her father, as her mother is hospitalized. She is also described as being in the same class as Kojiro's younger sister. This page delves into the extort mystery, revealing hidden activities and connections. It focuses on Marina investigating a politician named Rules, linked to drugs. There's suspicion surrounding Toa's kidnapping attempt, with questions about the ground self-defense force's involvement after a car incident. The investigation into extort itself is ongoing, uncovering it as a technology related to organ transplants. A database search reveals a successful extort case involving a woman named Kamiki Noe and mentions human resuscitation. The Cabinet Intelligence and Research Office is introduced as a powerful organization set to appear in future series. Finally, Kojiro is shown being called to a bar where he is questioned by members of this office about his activities and Oyaji-san, with Mimasaka offering cryptic advice about someone named Katsuragi. This page continues to explore the extort mystery, centering on Kojiro and Marina. The focus is on Father's Legacy Report and the Truth of Parents' Death, suggesting Kojiro is investigating his father's past and his parents' death. The page highlights Book of XTORT as a key item, mentioned as something Oyaji-san possessed and potentially passed down from Kojiro's father. It also introduces a certain organization, linked to past events, and mentions the Cabinet Investigation Office, established at the suggestion of Director Kono, seemingly connected to Marina. The next story segment teases upcoming plot developments with Ruth's secret maneuvers, Hiramatsu's death, and the serial bizarre murders plotline is also hinted at, with Kojiro and Marina trying to uncover the real culprit and the connection to XTORT. Overall, this page is building suspense and intrigue around the EV0 storyline, focusing on character motivations, organizational involvement, and emerging mysteries. This page announces Harusame Yubi, Spring Rain Day, a new novel adventure game for Dreamcast, developed by the same team behind Maboroshi Tsukio Setsunai Monogatari, Phantom Moon Knight, a heartrending tale. This title promises a similarly engaging story. The page highlights the game's romantic atmosphere, evoking imagery of cherry blossoms and gentle spring rain. Key staff members are named, including producer Yoshihide Sawaki, scenario writer Takako Osakabe, and character designer Yasunori Tadakuni, all veterans of Phantom Moon Knight. The text emphasizes the game's focus on story and atmosphere within the novel adventure genre, positioning Spring Rain Day as a compelling entry in this style. It also notes that the development team, Sims, is collaborating with NEC Interchannel and Mink for publication. The page details the game as a love novel adventure and mentions that the team were praised for their previous work on Phantom Moon Knight, which was first announced in September the previous year. The next page delves deeper into Harusame Yubi, also known as Spring Rain Day, showcasing a character relationship diagram. The prologue sets the scene, describing the protagonist's journey to a quiet, hot spring town, motivated by a desire to escape, and perhaps reminiscent of a sentimental journey. The protagonist receives a call from his aunt, inviting him to help at the family's inn, the Harusame Inn, which he hesitantly accepts. He travels to the nostalgic town he visited in his childhood. The character relationship diagram maps out the connections between various individuals in the story, including figures from the Kasuga Development Company and the Haruno Inn itself. We see relationships such as father, daughter, childhood friend, lodger, and propose depicted, hinting at the intertwined lives within this narrative. Key characters highlighted include Haruno Yayoi, who is the main heroine, Haruno Hiyori, and Nakamuro Yuichi, who is the protagonist, as well as other supporting characters like Kenzaki Juro and characters associated with the inn and the development company. It's a visual guide to understand the web of relationships in this romantic adventure game. This page continues to introduce In Spring Rain, also known as Harusame Yubi or Spring Rain Day. It's subtitled, That Place is a Place Where People Want to Return, describing it as a story digest about seeing an ideal healing village. The page details aspects of the game, highlighting that the inn, Harusame, is like a flower garden, staffed entirely by women, creating a unique working environment for the protagonist. It mentions the protagonist's daily struggles with work at the inn, including cleaning open-air baths and preparing meals. A specific event is showcased, witnessing the birth of a cow. The game also focuses on building relationships with the characters, suggesting a focus on deepening bonds. The Comfortable Play section outlines various options available, such as screen settings to adjust text transparency, sound settings for BGM, voices and sound effects, button configuration, and other features like Ruby text display and flashback viewing. A key feature is the calendar system, which allows players to track event progress and character encounters based on their in-game choices and location on the map. This calendar functionality is presented as a helpful tool for navigating the game's events and heroine interactions. This In Spring Rain page details scenarios with key characters. That Kindness is a Sin depicts a protagonist's awkward encounter with Haruyame in the outdoor bath. Kira's Errand introduces Kira, a mysterious girl residing at the inn, often engaged in unusual activities like digging or praying. She possesses unique accessories and appears dedicated to her role. A dramatic scene, held in strong arms, features Kira being rescued from an unseen force with fantastical sound effects, leaving her shaken. Finally, Heroine's Day Out describes Nagihiko taking Kira on a trip to town, including a visit to a hot spring district and a discussion of the Hot Spring Association and its flamboyant chairman. This page, titled There Sprout Affections, Is It Friendship or Love?, focuses on characters from the game In Spring Rain. It introduces two heroines, Yuriko Hayama, and Hotaru Oribe. Yuriko Hayama, designated as Heroine Part 3, is described as someone who loves alcohol, but is also very caring and good at looking after people, though a bit careless. One scenario on March 23rd, titled Chobi Unshonen Search, shows her in a shopping street looking for a troublesome pretty boy, or bishonen, involved in some kind of urgent event. Another scenario, Are You Afraid of Ghosts?, depicts Yuriko being scared after getting out of the bath, wrapped only in a towel, seemingly having encountered something frightening. Hotaru Oribe, Heroine Part 4, is portrayed as a very shy and quiet girl who isn't good at communication. A scenario dated March 26th, Ako Nakano's novel, shows Hotaru engrossed in reading a novel by an author named Ako Nakano, titled Forest Adventure, which is part of the same series as a book she had previously seen in Sao's room. Another scene, gazing at the PC, a happy face, illustrates Hotaru happily working on her computer, so engrossed that she forgets to eat, prompting Nagihiko to bring her rice balls. This page continues with the character introductions for In Spring Rain. It introduces Kozuzu Akechi as Heroine Part 5. She's a young girl from a ranch who helps with the chores. Although she has friends at school, she feels a bit isolated. A scenario dated March 25th titled Ducks Fund Panic shows Kazuzu in a shopping district where she encounters a dog. The dog barks at her and chases her, causing a bit of a commotion. Next we meet Lyra Lara Lazarus, Heroine Part 6. She's described as a princess from another country, giving off a very sophisticated and high-class impression. But despite her status, she's lonely and desires a normal life. One scenario on March 20th, Present from Hayori-san, shows Lyra receiving everyday clothes as a gift from Hayori. She's quite embarrassed and blushes deeply at the gesture. Another section titled Reason for Taking Spring Rain in Hand details how a company called Spring Rain Development Industry suddenly appears, wanting to buy the Spring Rain land. Lyra, in response, throws money at them and tells them to leave, showcasing her wealth and decisive nature, ending with the comment, "Cool, Lyra." Death Crimson OX, touted as the Dreamcast's last hope, is an arcade conversion scheduled for release on May 10th. This evolution of the series, surpassing Death Crimson 2, promises improved accessibility and gameplay. Key changes include a revamped system, making damage easier to understand, and potent item effects like the healing Descosmorn and the devastating all-range Death Flash. The game features story, blitz, mission-based, and mission modes. The title screen and music are also updated. Developed by ECOL Software, Death Crimson OX is a gun shooting game supporting VGA and the Dreamcast gun. It's priced at 5,800 yen and requires 8 memory blocks. The next page is focused on Death Crimson OX. It questions, either way, Death Crimson Disu, laugh? Continuing the coverage of this Dreamcast game, we see character introductions, featuring Yuri Rosenberg and a new character named Corinne. Corinne is described as an armored warrior and a significant character. Stage screenshots showcase diverse environments. Stage 2 is set in a warehouse. Stage 3 features machine girl enemies. Stage 4 has armored warrior enemies and bat-like flying machines. And Stage 5 is in the SMO research facility, where the boss is described as having 5 heads. Stage 1 highlights the boss sword the stake. The page includes a Homecoming Taichu and Hachi Diary section, which appears to be developer commentary, mentioning the game's development after the Dreamcast production halt, and emphasizing improvements over Death Crimson 2, such as the Blitz mode. There's also a long time no see ECOL interview section, discussing the sudden announcement of Death Crimson OX, and the context of Sega withdrawing from hardware. The interviewee from ECOL Software mentions that the story and world of Death Crimson OX differ from Death Crimson 2, while acknowledging the game as being more ordinary in some respects. Finally, a section titled 3 times the correct answer? Either way, laugh, featuring Karen, seems to touch upon the dialogue and story elements within the game. This page is the Dreamcast Magazine GD Volume 11 Contents page, highlighting what's included on the disc. It starts with instructions on handling the disc, troubleshooting if it doesn't load, and menu navigation. The content is divided into sections. Experience version, featuring trial versions of World Series Baseball 2K1 and Power Jet Racing 2001, both playable directly from the disc. The download section includes downloadable content for Atsumare. Guru Guru Onsen, and Eternal Arcadia, known internationally as Skies of Arcadia. Noting you need the full retail versions to use this data, and visual memory is required. Finally, the special movie section contains movies for Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning?, Bounty Hunter Sarah, Holy Mountains Testament, Eldorado Gate Volume 4, and Wild Riders. The page also features game logos for NFL 2K1 and NBA 2K1. The next page details the content included on the Dreamcast Magazine Volume 11 GDROM. It lists playable trial versions for World Series Baseball 2K1 and Power Jet Racing 2001. Downloadable data is included for Skies of Arcadia, known as Eternal Arcadia in Japan, and Atsumare, Guru Guru Onsen, requiring the full retail versions of these games to utilize. Additionally, the disc contains movies for Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning?, Bounty Hunter Sarah, Holy Mountains Testament, Eldorado Gate Volume 4, Wild Riders, NFL 2K1, and NBA 2K1. This page details the contents of Dreamcast Magazine GDROM Volume 11. It features playable trial versions of World Series Baseball 2K1 and Power Jet Racing 2001. Movie content is also included for Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning?, Bounty Hunter Sarah, Holy Mountains Testament, Eldorado Gate Volume 4, Wild Riders, NFL 2K1, and NBA 2K1. Downloadable content is provided for Eternal Arcadia, known internationally as Skies of Arcadia, and Atsumare, Guru Guru Onsen, both requiring the full game to utilize the data. The page also includes essential usage precautions for Dreamcast software, and a note from the editorial department outlining copyright information and contact details for inquiries. Dreamcast Magazine GDROM users are offered an exclusive 6-minute premium movie preview of Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning? This advertisement promises a special look at the game before its release. Unavailable in stores, designed to build anticipation, the movie showcases the game's opening featuring the theme song Under the Banner, dynamic scenes like the Flower Troupe performing French Can-Can, and glimpses of monster designs. The movie also visually explains the ARMS combat system, highlighting action gameplay, simulation mechanics, and strategic elements through continuous attacks and special moves. Viewers will witness polygon-based monsters and battle scenes with Flower Troupe members. Screenshots of the Paris cityscape, the main character, and in-game battles are also included. More information and lyrics are available on page 32 of the magazine. This page is a preview for World Series Baseball 2K1. It highlights that the game will be released on March 22nd. This demo version is included on the Dreamcast Magazine GDROM. The preview emphasizes the real Major League Baseball experience, detailing how to start a game and the available modes. The Game Start Method section outlines the steps. Mode Select, Team Selection, limited to 2 teams in the demo. Stadium Selection, Player Selection, and Option Selection. The demo is limited to Exhibition Mode and 2 innings, featuring the Mariners and Yankees as playable teams. The page details gameplay elements, including the condition display, the main screen with the pitching gauge and strike zone, and the meet cursor for batting. Option panels explain game settings such as difficulty, handicap, replay options, camera angles, innings, and designated hitter rules. A message from the developer emphasizes the game's baseball action, stating it captures the essence of hitting, running, throwing, and pitching. This page provides controller instructions for World Series Baseball 2K1. It details the controls for both attacking, batting and running, and defending, pitching and fielding, using the Dreamcast controller. For attacking, the L trigger is used for a bunt, while the R trigger is for a swing. The analog directional pad is used to aim the batting cursor. To steal a base or advance runners, use the analog direction pad and the A button. For defense, the L trigger is for an infield shift, and the R trigger is for an outfield shift. During pitching, the player selects the pitch type using the directional buttons, and then presses the A button to determine power and adjust the pitch course using the analog direction pad. For fielding, the controls are semi-automatic, with the player needing to press the A button to throw to a base, or the B button to tag a runner. The page visually explains the button layout and functions using controller diagrams and screenshots of gameplay situations, showing the on-screen displays like the pitching gauge and cursor. It emphasizes practicing timing for batting and utilizing the analog stick for aiming pitches and the batting cursor. This page is a preview for the Dreamcast game Power Jet Racing 2001, a water racing title where players control jet skis. The game was set for release on March 22nd and priced at 5,800 yen. It supports 12 players and uses 8 VM blocks. The preview highlights the game's core concept: racing jet skis on realistic water surfaces in famous locations around the world. The game features 6 customizable riders with varying performance characteristics, allowing players to choose a rider that suits their playstyle. The environments are detailed and beautiful, with realistic wave physics. Various gameplay techniques are showcased, such as the barrel roll, loop, bunny hop, and submarine, each explained with button inputs and screenshots. The control scheme uses the directional pad and analog stick for steering, the R trigger for acceleration, the B button for turning around, and the X button to change the camera view. A trial version of the game is mentioned, which only allows play on the Bahamas short course using the rider Ryan. The full game features 7 courses in total, with variations and shortcuts to explore. This page continues the guide for the trial version of Power Jet Racing 2001, focusing on the Bahamas short course. It gives point-by-point advice on how to best navigate the track to achieve a good time. Starting just after the first curve, the advice is to approach from the outside. Then, use full throttle through the gentle left curve after the initial right turn, aiming for the next corner. The guide suggests maintaining speed in areas with fewer waves, particularly along the center of the course near the rocks on the left, where you can hit speeds over 120 km per hour by avoiding sharp turns. When approaching the jump platform after Point Iruka, aim to clip the inside of the corner and jump straight ahead. For the tunnel section, enter from the outside and cut sharply left to exit smoothly. A key point highlighted is that water bikes don't have brakes, so mastering throttle control is crucial for cornering and speed management, as sudden deceleration is impossible. This page introduces Bounty Hunter Sarah, Holy Mountain Emperor, an action novel adventure game developed by Flagship Works and published by Capcom for the Dreamcast, scheduled for release on May 24th. The game is set in Neo-Tokyo in the year 2060, a city plagued by increased crime, where bounty hunters operate. The story revolves around Sarah D. Fitzgerald, a top-ranking bounty hunter known for using old-world weaponry and her skills in a dangerous profession where life and death are intertwined. The game system features 3 key elements: Countdown, where players must make quick decisions under time pressure; Detective, which tests deduction abilities to solve cases based on clues; and Ranking, which evaluates the player's performance, with higher ranks awarded for faster and more accurate decisions, up to the coveted S rank. Gameplay involves reading through text, making choices that branch the story, and navigating timed decision-making sequences, emphasizing quick judgment, as wrong choices can lead to death. The game is promoted as a new sensation novel experience. This page is about Eldorado Gate Volume 4, showcasing new characters and story arcs in the game. The page highlights 3 story chapters. Chapter 9, Mima's Selfish Day, introduces Mima, a spoiled girl who gets sick with stone sleep sickness. The story involves her seeking a fairy who can cure her. Chapter 10, Find the Successor of the Village Elder, focuses on Manma, a man in a village troubled by rough men, and a village elder looking for a successor. Chapter 11, Holy Knight Gigi, involves the Holy Knights and a demon's plot, featuring Gigi, a holy knight seemingly possessing the power of a demon. The page also mentions a CM event, featuring the Sagechi family, appearing in Volume 4, suggesting in-game events involving these characters. The game details box shows it is for Dreamcast, a RPG genre, for 1 player, using 16 VM blocks, and was scheduled for release on April 12th for 2,800 yen, 120 points. A message from the developers recommends the Digest movie in this Dreamcast Magazine CD for those considering purchasing the game, encouraging players to visit shops to buy it. This page is focused on NFL 2K1 for the Dreamcast, highlighting the game's enhanced features. The game boasts incredible stadium atmosphere and realistic graphics, making it feel like watching a TV broadcast. It emphasizes 3 key power-up elements: a new franchise mode where players can manage their own original team and aim for the Super Bowl, improved player actions for more realistic and responsive gameplay with diverse animations, and a special bonus NFL Bible guidebook included with the game software. The game supports 1 to 4 players, is an SPT, sports/football genre, and is compatible with VGA, TV, data carrier, and keyboard. Internet functionality is also a key feature, enabling online battles and the downloading of player data to keep rosters up to date. The developers state that NFL 2K1 achieves unparalleled realism and immersion in recreating the excitement of American football. This page showcases NBA 2K1 on Dreamcast, building on the previous NBA 2K game. It highlights that online internet matches are now possible, and the game features the latest NBA data updates. The graphics are emphasized for their beauty, making the basketball game incredibly engaging. It mentions the NBA 2K1 sequel continues the series that was highly praised by users, and details that the game data is updated to the 20,000,2001 season for the Japan release. This version includes network play, improved controls, and strategic depth, offering a realistic stadium atmosphere and exciting player movements, which they encourage players to see in the game's trailer. The page also outlines features that cater to NBA fans' expectations, including internet play and downloadable data for roster updates, classic 50s to 80s star players, and a bonus NBA Bible guidebook for early purchasers. A significant new addition is Street Mode, allowing players to play street basketball on outdoor courts set in American urban environments. It features street courts in locations like Franklin Park and Rucker Park, offering a different gameplay style from arena matches, with players dressed in casual attire instead of uniforms. The street courts are described with details like lively downtown areas in Franklin Park and natural park settings in Ruckers Park, enhancing the street basketball atmosphere. The page emphasizes 2 on Second Street games, with NBA stars on outdoor courts, as a fresh experience. This page introduces the arcade game Wild Riders, a cartoon-style bike action game developed by Sega/WOW Entertainment for the NAOMI2 arcade board. The game focuses on outrunning the police by performing handle actions at the right time, with moves like jumps and slides. You'll play as characters like the Raging Wild Horse, Keith Raven, or Furious Speed Angel, Angel Trish Moon, trying to evade the massive police patrol Patrick Police Department. Gameplay is different from typical racing games, with police pursuit as a core element, and getting caught results in arrest and game over. The page also includes a message from the developers who aim to create a unique bike racing experience with realistic bike movements, and are including a recorded play movie of the game's prologue on the Dreamcast Magazine CD. Wild Riders is described as a business use title, suggesting it was primarily intended for arcades in Japan and was not released on Dreamcast consoles internationally. This page is all about downloadable content for the quirky Dreamcast title Atsumare, Guru Guru Onsen, a Japan-exclusive game. The Dreamcast Magazine, GDROM, comes packed with 20 unique parts to customize your characters in the game, parts that were originally rare and only obtainable from the official website. You can download these parts directly to your visual memory, and then use them within Guru Guru Onsen to give your characters even more personality. The page shows off some of these parts, like gorilla heads, onion heads, and even tulip heads. It also touches upon network features, mentioning how you can enjoy Eternal Arcadia even more with online connectivity, and by utilizing 3 types of downloadable data. However, it's clearly stated that to use the downloadable content for Atsumare Guru Guru Onsen, you'll need the retail version of the game itself. So this GDROM gives you a taste of extra customization, but requires the full game to experience it. The next page in Dreamcast Magazine is a manga called DC Game Tiger's Den of Fun, which focuses on the Dreamcast game Seaman. The manga panel depicts a girl playing Seaman and being surprised by its voice recognition feature, finding it a bit unreliable and quirky. The cat character remarks on how cute the girl is for raising a seaman. The girl is then shown trying to teach Seaman, but it misunderstands her instructions, highlighting the humorous nature of the game's voice interaction. The text emphasizes that voice recognition in Seaman is a bit unpredictable, and you shouldn't expect too much from it. But it's part of the fun. The cat sums it up by saying that, even with its quirks, people are still buying and enjoying Seaman. The overall tone is lighthearted, and promotes the unique experience of Seaman, despite its imperfect voice recognition. This Dreamcast Magazine Reader Corner features various topics. Readers discuss the future of online RPGs, particularly Phantasy Star Online, PSO, which is a hot topic, and the editor's robot character responds. Other readers share their enjoyment of the magazine and Dreamcast, seek advice on PSO difficulty, and express a desire for a new TV to appreciate the console's graphics. Some readers are consumed by PSO and apologize for not submitting content. One reader inquires about game compatibility in them. The magazine also includes a humorous story referencing Alex Kidd, and a section detailing upcoming game releases, and a name fortune-telling diagnosis. Cartoons featuring the editor robot, Robo-Tommy, add to the light-hearted tone. This page is from the Dream Maga Art Club section, showcasing reader-submitted artwork. Featured pieces include fan art for games like Memories Off Complete, Comic Party, and Phantasy Star Online. One section seems to be a reader question corner specifically for Phantasy Star Online. Moving on, there's a Cinemer's movie recommendation section suggesting films like The Cell, starring Jennifer Lopez, and The Whole Nine Yards with Bruce Willis. Lastly, a movie ranking chart is presented, listing popular films like Castaway and Unbreakable. This page from Game Shop Backstage Akihabara Game Anthology showcases reader reviews and comments on games. It features artwork of characters and descriptions. There's a section dedicated to 100 Swords, awarding it Department Chief Award 2 points. The reviewers highlight the game's tension and enjoyable essence. Characters. Characters like Milia, described as beautiful, and characters from 100 Swords with their prefecture names like Hokkaido/Katamari Miyabi and Ehime/Bunbun Heads are mentioned with brief comments. The page also includes an article titled Market Creation Act, Flying Whitebirds, discussing marketing strategies in game stores, focusing on how retailers plan activities to maximize sales, and the concept of marketing itself. The article touches on the challenge of conveying the essence of marketing and the need for retailers to create a market. A cartoon at the bottom right illustrates the marketing concept in a game store setting. This page features a variety of content, starting with a response to a reader's question about Dreamcast peripherals, assuring continued VM production alongside software releases. A postcard contest, Cast Child Wind Sparrow, saw a significant increase in submissions, with organizers aiming for 300. This week's battle showcases reader-submitted artwork, judged in a humorous style, with a winning entry about Hiroshi Fukutomi and a losing entry titled I'm Potato. The page also encourages reader submissions of questions and funny stories. Finally, it reviews 3 computer-themed books: William Gibson's novel Neuromancer, Howard Rheingold's Tools for Thought about computer history, and a guidebook on demo coding, exploring the culture of 20th-century hackers and the demo scene. This page continues with reader submissions and columns. The Namco Kuji corner introduces reader postcards, seeking Namco Kuji stories related to Namco games. It mentions Super Famicom, Super Nintendo era Namco games, requesting stories and memories related to titles and characters from that time, showing images of Namco characters and games. The Telltale Dojo section presents reader submissions, discussing a submitted game instruction manual memo that mentions Des, Springer, and the Des language. It invites readers to send in their D stories. The Blood Umbilicus Pico Taro continuation section features a humorous, nonsensical reader poem titled Wabu Wafu 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 Wafub. Yay! It's a stream of consciousness-style poem about everyday objects and situations. Finally, the NanoRay Specs column by NanoRay Black Willowchild answers reader questions related to character design, particularly focusing on the appeal of character design and elements like sexual erotica in game characters. This page showcases various reader contributions. The Sakura Tyson corner presents humorous cartoon panels about the game series. The reader feedback box features Dreamcast gaming experiences, including audio quality improvements and console purchase stories. Natano Circus Welcome highlights Macross with a circus-themed image. Men's Love Corner focuses on attractive male characters in games, with reader comments on character design. Finally, the CD release introduction lists recent music releases. Albums released on March 7th include Wish Heart of Disney Songs, Apollo by Persons, and Barbecue Michael by Sex Machine Guns. Singles released are Heads by Perfect Planned, Otherworld by Ayako Kawahira, and Cameraman's EP by Cameramans. This content showcases reader-submitted material, encompassing diverse formats. The Dream Manga section presents humorous comic strips like Gildra, Dark Elf, and Kaboo, each featuring unique themes and styles. A strategy section details a comic illustrating a game strategy involving animal characters. Joke Superman uses Doraemon characters for a comedic scenario. DC Netter Follower features a reader's concern about Dreamcast online services. Profile introduces Sakurai Tomo, a multi-talented artist, including singer and voice actress. She hosts a show on BAY-FM. Today's Wind Sound, likely by Sakurai Tomo, reveals her fondness for shochu and getting flushed. Enjoying alone time highlights her appreciation for solo activities like bath time, self-care, eating sweets, and daydreaming. She also anticipates a fan club bus tour. This Dreamcast/Saturn magazine page features reader submissions and news. Readers express interest in Dreamcast ports of Tokimeki Memorial 2 and Megami Tensei titles. Images highlight games like Panzer Dragoon, with hopes for remakes. News snippets include Virtual Fighter 4 location test popularity and Dreamcast console pricing changes. Other items cover adult game platform compatibility, Roommate Saturn re-releases, Virtua Fighter 2 voice alterations, and details on VF4 development, including Shenmue sequel voice acting announcements. A reader ranking is also included. Finally, the magazine outlines submission categories, such as Dream Manga Art Club, Transplant Hope, and provides submission instructions. This page features the Neo-Black column by Fumio Kurokawa, discussing the gloomy state of the game industry, mentioning companies like Sega, SCE, Square, Namco, and Konami, highlighting their financial difficulties with falling stock prices. The column notes the success of Dreamcast's Onimusha, which sold 1 million copies. Kurokawa's profile details his background in music, film, and Sega, including his promotional work on Virtua Fighter. His recent update mentions his ongoing struggle with hay fever and allergies. The page also includes Game Industry This Week's news headlines, covering 5 topics. Hudson's financial turnaround from losses to profit, a review failure for NASA's Space Shuttle mission, a proposal for Pokemon card technology, an accident during the filming of the Spider-Man movie involving a crane collapse, and speculation about a potential delay in the release date of the GameCube console. Mobile Suit Gundam, Char's Counterattack, is set for DVD/video release on March 25th. This film serves as the culmination of the Amuro and Char saga. The story, set in UCO 093, sees Char Aznable, leader of Neo Zeon, seeking to punish Earth by dropping asteroids. Amuro Ray, piloting the new Gundam, must stop him. The film also features Quest Pariah, a new type drawn to Char, and Hathaway Noah, Bright Noah's son, caught in the conflict. Character profiles are included for Char, Shuichi Ikeda, Amuro, Toru Furuya, Quest, Maria Kawamura, and Hathaway, Nozomu Sasaki. In other news, Aibi Mizuno's best album, Lovely Days Manabi Best Songs, is releasing on March 23rd. A prize draw for the OVA With You, which offers autographed voice actor color paper, is also being promoted. Upcoming anime and TV show releases include several DVD and video releases. Sakura Wars TV Volume 7 and Aim for the Top Gunbuster OVA Volume 3 are due March 25th. Kamen Rider Kuga Volume 4 releases March 21st, while Machine Trouble Tales Hirayu Battle Skill 3 is slated for March 23rd. Farm Girl Kathy Volume 1 is releasing on March 25th. Love Hina Process 8 and Magical Dormai Hash Volumes 3 and 5 are already available. Additionally, the NG Night Ramoon and 40 DVD BOX is available. Space Sheriff Gavand, a classic special effects show, starts broadcasting April 2nd. Finally, Ask Dr. Rin begins airing on Animax Theater X every Tuesday at 9 p.m. from March 10th. This page is another installment of the Something Yoshimatsu Theater comic strip, episode 110, titled Mysterious Transfer Student. It introduces a new character named Advance Ko-chan, who appears to be a person with a Game Boy Advance for a head. The comic seems to be making lighthearted jokes and references to video games and game characters, with dialogue and situations reminiscent of game scenarios. There's mention of Zero-oi and Fibro, possibly game-related terms or references within the context of the comic's humor. The strip ends with a reference to Gakuen Senki Muryu, a program scheduled on NHKBS2 every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. from May 8th, related to the work of Yoshimatsu, who is mentioned as being involved in studio live animation supervision. This page is a music column by manga artist Makita Yoshiharu, part of his Mokyu Mokyu Ankoku Tengoku Ki, temporary title, segment. Makita starts with a humorous greeting directed at Mr. Fujiki from BURRN magazine, referencing Masatoshi Ono singing for an eroge game, Bedogonia. He then talks about his love for hard rock and progressive rock, and expresses curiosity about what kind of music fans of Dream Come True listen to. He mentions previously discussing melodic death metal and Timo Tolkki, and being surprised by the positive reader response. This column was a last-minute addition and deviation from the planned content, for which he apologizes to the editor. He also promotes his manga, Mokyu Mokyu Ankoku Tengoku Ki, temporary title, which stars 3 girls, Haruna, Kyoko, and Ayu, and invites readers to anticipate its future. He even drops his website address for anyone interested in checking it out. It seems a bit out of place in a Dreamcast mag, but always interesting to see what artists are into. The next page features an interview titled, This Week Interview, Akemi Hareya, Punching Bag. It profiles Akemi Hareya, a former boxer who now works as a punching bag in Shinjuku's Kabukicho district. He takes punches from customers for 1,000 yen per minute to repay his debts. The article delves into his reasons for this unusual profession, his past as a boxer, and his aspirations to go to America and revive his boxing career. It also mentions his support group and his unwavering determination despite the physical hardship. This page is an advertisement for the Saskatsuku Special Edition Complete Guidebook for the Dreamcast game J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru. This definitive guide is advertised as providing complete strategies and analysis for the game, covering key elements such as team management, player development, team strategies, and personnel decisions. It promises to reveal all the essential points to succeed in the game, offering in-depth data on almost 5,000 players and over 1,000 managers and scouts. The guide is a 5-size, 480 pages long, printed in full color, and sells for 1,800 yen. It is currently available for purchase, and announcements are made for 2 more upcoming Saskatsuku Special Edition books, a player directory, and a fan book. This page is a reader questionnaire for Dreamcast Magazine. It asks readers about their gender, age, occupation, reading habits, and Dreamcast ownership and preferences. The questionnaire includes questions on how often they submit questionnaires, the number of Dreamcast games they own, their reaction to the Dreamcast price drop, and which articles in the current issue they found interesting. It also asks about the game consoles they own, Dreamcast software they plan to buy, and their opinion on the magazine's front cover. Lists are provided to help answer questions, including a list of current articles in the magazine, a list of hardware consoles, and a long list of Dreamcast software titles. This page is a special feature titled, Sega Developers Speak for the First Time About Other Companies' Hardware, focusing on the newly released Game Boy Advance. It highlights that Sega's Sonic team is developing for multi-platforms, with their first release being Choo Choo Rocket! There's an interview with Yuji Naka discussing the appeal of Choo Choo Rocket on the GBA and how it compares to Sega's own hardware. The page also mentions attending a Game Boy Advance presentation event. We can see screenshots of Choo Choo Rocket and a visual comparison between the Sega Game Gear and the Game Boy Advance. Sonic Team's Yuji Naka discusses bringing Choo Choo Rocket to the Game Boy Advance. Initially surprised by the Wonder cartridge feature enabling 4-player multiplayer with a single cartridge, they quickly decided to adapt the game. The appeal of shared multiplayer and a fast launch were key drivers. Naka recalls developing within a tight time frame and facing challenges like graphical limitations and optimizing the game for the GBA's RAM. They considered data compression techniques from older systems and dealt with audio restrictions in 4-player mode. A visit to Nintendo's headquarters revealed a welcoming atmosphere. The article contrasts Choo Choo Rocket's single cartridge multiplayer with older examples of connecting consoles for multiplayer, such as F-16 Fighting Falcon and Spy vs. Spy, highlighting the GBA's unique approach. This page focuses on the Game Boy Advance and features an interview with Sonic Team's Yuji Naka about bringing Dreamcast games to Nintendo's handheld, specifically Choo Choo Rocket. Naka expresses surprise at the GBA's single cartridge multiplayer and confirms they are porting Choo Choo Rocket. There's a comparison section contrasting Sega's own handheld, the Game Gear, with the GBA, highlighting the Game Gear's poor battery life. The article then speculates about future games on the GBA, wondering if Phantasy Star Online could be ported, and mentions RPGs like Gauntlet as potential inspiration. Finally, there's a reveal of the first screenshots for Sonic the Hedgehog Advance, provisional title, showing early in-development gameplay of this new Sonic title for the Game Boy Advance, promising high-speed action similar to the original Mega Drive Sonic games, with impressive scrolling. It is stated that the game is in beta and nearing completion. The next page promotes Choo Choo Rocket for the Game Boy Advance, highlighting it as the first game in Sega's GBA lineup and the 13th in their multi-platform strategy. It's described as a super hot action puzzle game, porting the Dreamcast hit to the handheld. The page emphasizes the 4-player battle mode, stating it's faithfully reproduced from the Dreamcast version and playable with just one cartridge. New GBA exclusive elements are promised, including roulette events that introduce gameplay twists like obscuring the top player's view in top blindfold or limiting visibility in nighttime. Beyond multiplayer, there are numerous modes including team battle, stage challenge, puzzle, stage and character creation, and data exchange. The puzzle mode is particularly noteworthy, featuring 2,500 carefully selected puzzles from the 17,000 user-created levels of the Dreamcast version. The creation mode allows players to build their own stages and exchange data with friends. Stage challenge mode is a speed-based single-player mode, tasking players to clear stages within 30 seconds, similar to the Dreamcast version. Yuji Naka of Sonic Team is quoted, mentioning they considered the title Choo Choo Pocket for the portable version and emphasizing the game's appeal to younger players and its potential educational value. The game is slated for simultaneous release with the Game Boy Advance hardware. Nintendo's Game Boy Advance product presentation showcased 28 titles, including Sega's Choo Choo Rocket and a new peripheral, the Card e-reader. Several upcoming games were highlighted, such as F-Zero for Game Boy Advance, with its Super Famicom-style graphics and multiplayer capabilities, and Castlevania Circle of the Moon, a scrolling action RPG. Mr. Driller 2 was also featured. Developer interviews provided insights, including comments from Konami's Koji Igarashi on the GBA's Castlevania port. The review section assessed the GBA's graphical capabilities, comparing them to the Super Famicom rather than the Saturn or PlayStation. The GBA's launch lineup includes remakes and sequels, like Mario USA. The review concludes by questioning the GBA's potential to revitalize the gaming industry. This page showcases upcoming Dreamcast titles and strategy guides. On the left, under the title Upcoming DC Masterpieces, there's a list of games. These include Eldorado Gate Volume 4, Heavy Metal Geomatrix, originally listed as Bounty Hunter Sarah, Holy Mountain Emperor's Throne, Resident Evil Code, Veronica X, listed as Biohazard Code, Veronica Complete Edition, and the Japanese-only titles Love Hina Smile Again, Cardcaptor Sakura, 2nd, and S. Elemental Story S. Sports games are featured with NBA 2K1, World Series Baseball 2K1, and NFL 2K1. Also listed are the Japan-only visual novel Close to Inori no Okade, listed as Close to Prayer Hill, and Jet Set Radio, listed as Power Jet Racing 2001. The right side, titled Happy, Useful Dreamcast Thorough Strategy, lists strategy guides for games like Le Mans 24 Hours, Sakura Wars 3, Is Paris Burning My Dear, listed as West Wind Rhapsody, 100 Swords, Fish Eyes Wild, and Sega Worldwide Soccer Manager 2, listed as Let's Make a Pro Soccer Club, Special Edition. The page is visually rich with screenshots from these games. You can see images that appear to be from Resident Evil Code, Veronica X, racing scenes likely from a racing game like Le Mans, anime-style artwork hinting at games like Love Hina or Cardcaptor Sakura, and action shots that could be from Heavy Metal Geomatrix or 100 Swords. Eldorado Gate Volume 4, focusing on Chapter 4 and Episode 9, marks a turning point in the 7-volume saga. Episode 9, Mima's Busy Day, sees Mima worried about Abba Grandma's illness. The episode introduces sub-characters App, Rika, and Aiho, all possessing unique healing abilities tied to their respective locations: Sakuya Plain, Dodo Desert, and Snail Coast. App, the first fairy to appear in Episode 9, triggers unusual events when taken to Sakuya Plain. A section highlights Gomez's rampage, with the character now acting erratically after Mima's actions and the Dr. Aegean using mysterious gas. Volume 4, priced at 2,800 yen or 120 Dreamcast points, is a single-player RPG slated for release in about a month and includes details on sub-characters and key scenes. The release date has been adjusted. Episode 11's Holy Knight Gigi is highlighted as crucial to the overarching narrative. Eldorado Gate Volume 5 and 6 continue the story, focusing on Pamela's quest and new developments. Chapter 10, Eating Manma, follows Pamela as she seeks companions, hinting at a connection between Manma and events from 10 years prior involving Aaron and the Demon King. Alan, Manma's father, is a former nobleman, and Iris, her mother, is from Corinne Village. Chapter 11, Holy Knight Gigi, features Gigi, a swordsman, and Pearl, exploring a small incident involving Manma and leading to a larger narrative development, including Iris's anger. Ararna, a knife thrower from the Honeyland Circus, and Pearl, a member of the Phantom Holy Knight Order with an energy core, are introduced. Pamela gains a new special ability, Augie, a powerful attack. The energy core is a key item, highly valued by Pearl, and its purpose in Chapter 11 is a mystery. This page is dedicated to Eldorado Gate, issue 18 of the weekly Gabu Gabu fan page. Celebrating 5 consecutive months of publication, it features a staff voice section, where the producer discusses Eldorado Gate, focusing on the developments from Volume 4 onwards for the character L. The page highlights character number 8, Elishin, detailing his background as a fallen aristocrat, and describing him as cool and a playboy. There are sections titled Soul's Canvas and Dream's Mirror, touching upon anticipation for Volume 4, and mentioning characters Sophie, Rado, and Kobato. A 4-panel comic strip is also included. A section on special ability, Disease Sword, showcases Elishin's unique ability, which enhances speed and attack power, alongside a gameplay screenshot. The page includes contact details for submitting fan contributions. This page introduces Undercover X Underworld, a Dreamcast title set in AD 2060 Neo-Tokyo. It's described as a thrilling and suspenseful near-future action novel adventure game. The gameplay involves making choices under time pressure, referred to as countdown, and utilizes detective elements. The page highlights the main character, Sarah, a bounty hunter navigating a polluted and dangerous Neo-Tokyo. The city has deteriorated to a point where the surface is a wasteland, and people live in underground cities, a stark contrast to the wealthy who live above. The game received a very high 90% rating in Dreamcast Magazine, confirming its quality and anticipation. It is developed by Flagship, known for creating story-driven experiences. This page reveals new information about the unique systems in Bounty Hunter Sarah, Holy Mountain no Teiyu, which is known internationally as Undercover X Underworld. The page highlights 2 key gameplay mechanics, Detective Time and Countdown. Detective Time is explained as a system where players must make choices while reading the opponent's mind. The choices you make will change based on the situation, and the ultimate conclusion will rely on your deductive reasoning. The final mission reward is mentioned as $5 million, and the page questions whether this conclusion is truly the correct one. The countdown system, previously introduced, now features scenarios with 3 choices instead of 2. This increases the difficulty and requires quicker and more accurate judgments. Incorrect choices lead to unfortunate outcomes. The countdown timer on the screen intensifies the pressure. The example screenshots show dialogue choices and the countdown timer. The page also touches upon Neo-Tokyo bounty hunters outside of Neo-Tokyo, confirming the presence of bounty hunters beyond Neo-Tokyo. It mentions that outside of Neo-Tokyo, there are also dangerous criminals, and suggests that Sarah will also be active in these other areas. Finally, there is a section on terminology explanation, which details how players can access a glossary to understand special in-game terms that may be unfamiliar. This feature is designed to enhance understanding of the game's story and world. The next page focuses on the upcoming complete edition of Biohazard Code Veronica, known internationally as Resident Evil Code Veronica. It highlights that this complete edition will reveal hidden truths by adding previously unrecorded events to the game, expanding on the story connecting to the broader Biohazard narrative, and solidifying Veronica's place within it. The page emphasizes a new scene, Wesker vs. Redfield siblings, showcasing Chris and Claire Redfield together confronting Wesker, a scenario not present in the original version. It also mentions a scene where Claire calls out to Chris as she is caught by Wesker, suggesting a preceding encounter before the main Wesker vs. Chris battle. Another screenshot shows Chris running from a horde of zombies in an event scene, indicating a desperate escape situation. The release date for the complete edition is stated as March 22nd from Capcom, priced at 5,800 yen, 300 points, and the genre is confirmed as survival horror. A player comment is featured, recalling playing the original Veronica around 5 years prior, describing it as being as scary as the first Biohazard, and a vivid memory from their student days. This Dreamcast Magazine page previews Resident Evil Code, Veronica X, the complete edition. The game explores complex character relationships, centering on Albert Wesker, who is seeking Alexia Ashford for her power. Alexia and her cruel brother Alfred, who controls the disturbing Rockford Island, are key antagonists. Chris Redfield, responding to Claire's distress signal, is the determined protagonist. Claire escapes with Steve Burnside, a distrustful young man whose appearance is updated. The Dreamcast version boasts exclusive features, including immediate access to the rocket launcher in Very Easy mode and the battle game mode from the start, playable in both first and third-person perspectives, with Wesker as a playable character. The horror derives from Alfred Ashford's warped personality and Rockford Island's atmosphere. The page hints at the involvement of Alexander Ashford, Nosferatu, whose awakening triggers events at the end of Disc 1. This page highlights Love Hina Smile Again for Dreamcast, showcasing a Kaiora episode check section. It delves into the Mecha Keitaro is Keitaro storyline and examines Kaora's truth, all within a broken identity-themed narrative. The page details Kaora's character, mentioning her January 11, 1985 birth date, blood type O, and her personality as cheerful and energetic. Love Hina Smile Again on Dreamcast is presented as featuring original stories not seen in the manga, designed for fans, with short stories focusing on each heroine and a new system. It was released on March 29th for 6,800 yen. This page continues to showcase Love Hina Smile Again. It highlights the improvements made from the previous game, mentioning it's structured around 9 short stories and has enhanced gameplay. A key new feature is the leader function, which simplifies map navigation by displaying character locations within the Hinata Inn, making it easier to find who you are looking for. The page also spotlights a Shinobu episode check, focusing on Shinobu's storyline, titled Unrequited Love is Fun. It details her study sessions with Keitaro, her desire to give him a gift, and her seeking advice from Kitsune. Another segment is dedicated to proper cleaning style, showing Shinobu in gym clothes, and jokingly referencing Kitsune's knowledge about bloomers and brooms in relation to cleaning. Lastly, a profile section introduces Shinobu Miyahara, giving details about her birthday as November 15, 1985, her living in room 201 of Hinata Apartments, and her personality. She is described as being good at housework, shy around Keitaro, but secretly harboring feelings for him, despite not being good at maths and science. Cul-de-Sac Second, the next installment in the trading card and board game series, was announced in Tokyo. The game boasts an emotionally impactful theme song and anticipated in-game music. Character modeling utilizes Dreamcast capabilities for impressive 3D CG, with the main theme movie largely created by a new staff member. Developers promise enhanced gameplay through a strengthened creator lineup and new/revised rules. Network battles are a key feature, allowing players to enter a tower and battle in floors, with rule modifications and book exchanges. 7 floors are available. The game is 80% complete, scheduled for a July release by Media Factory/Omiya Soft, priced at 6,800 yen. It supports 1 to 4 players and utilizes 1 VMU block and 1 disc. The genre is trading card board game, with added communication functions, new cards, and rules. This page highlights the creators involved in Cul-de-Sac Second. It introduces sound creator Kenji Ito, who previously worked on the Saga series, and explains his role in crafting the music for Cul-de-Sac Second, aiming to create a world-immersive soundscape. The page also features Minoru Hinoshita, responsible for the opening CG movie. He mentions the movie was made with a small team and significant time, resulting in a unique flavor. The article reports on playable demo stations at the venue, noting the beautifully refined graphics and map screens. Impressions from players testing the demo highlight the reduced card costs within the game's system, making it feel more strategic and easier to summon creatures. The Dreamcast's graphical capabilities are praised for spell effects and overall visual enhancements, leading to a smooth and enjoyable gameplay experience. Additionally, the page mentions that the All Japan Scepters Cup 2001 national tournament using the PlayStation Expansion Plus version of the original concept, was held at the same event. This tournament gathered strong players from across the country, creating an intense atmosphere. Prizes like signed artwork by the concept creator were presented to the winners of a Janken, rock, paper, scissors tournament during the event. This page introduces Linus, a psychological suspense adventure game for the Dreamcast, where you dive into the consciousness of Detective Kusakabe to solve a kidnapping case. The premise involves a series of bizarre kidnappings and the disappearance of Yumi Hashiba. Detective Kusakabe, who is investigating, is now unconscious, and you, as the player, possess the ability to enter people's minds. The gameplay in Akais revolves around exploring Kusakabe's consciousness, which manifests as memory fragments and distorted environments. You search for clues within these memory fragments to piece together the events and find the missing girl. The page highlights the ease flow, search, stimulate, and recall, where you explore, trigger memories, and reconstruct the past. You'll be guided by researcher Takano Noriko as you navigate Kusakabe's mind using a psychodive system. But be warned, getting too deep risks being trapped inside his consciousness, leading to a game over. The screenshots show in-game scenes and interface elements. The game's initial setting is Kusakabe's Japanese-style room within his mind, where you must investigate objects and memories to progress the story. The TV in the room shows news reports about the kidnapping case, setting the stage for the unfolding mystery. Witties was released exclusively in Japan for the Dreamcast. The investigation into a series of kidnapping murders in Makiya police jurisdiction is underway, spanning cases from 1 month ago and 20 years prior. 4 key individuals are introduced. Kato Natsuki, a traffic division officer troubled by prank calls. Mukai Kyoichi, a detective interested in Hiragi. Gensan, a delivery man with connections to the police who believes the killer is a monster. And Itakura Makoto, the police chief. The cases involve a murdered housewife displayed in a shop, a murdered student found in a classroom, and a murdered couple in a park. A 20-year-old unsolved mass murder at the restaurant Hibarite is also revisited. Hiragi's repressed memories, represented by a protect mechanism, form the central mystery. The recurring figures of Yano Kanai and Sawada Ayako, ne Yano, are highlighted, with the investigation seeking to uncover their relationship with Hiragi. This page is about the Dreamcast game NBA 2K1 and its newly announced network capabilities. It highlights that network play, previously only available in overseas versions, is now officially coming to the domestic Japanese version. The page explains that local lobby servers will be set up and connection status will be displayed. It also mentions that you'll need to register with Dream Passport DCONet to use the network features. There's a Q&A section addressing network fees, stating that while internet connection fees are separate, there are no additional charges for network play itself. Another question asks about playing against foreigners and confirms that it's possible via US and Japan lobby servers. The page also previews the street mode as a more casual and exciting gameplay option. Screenshots show the network login and lobby screens, as well as street mode gameplay. Finally, it lists team rosters for the Central and Atlantic divisions, mentioning key players for teams like Atlanta Hawks, Chicago Bulls, Detroit Pistons, Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, New York Knicks, Orlando Magic, and Washington Wizards, along with short player descriptions and team strategies. NBA 2K1's Street Mode features gameplay at Rutgers Park and Franklin Park. Screenshots display 2-on-2 and 5-on-5 play. A bonus GM Job Mode, Franchise Mode internationally, lets players manage a team. The game also expands network features beyond simple matchups. The game highlights recommended players from the Pacific and Midwest divisions. The Pacific teams include the Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, Suns, Trailblazers, Kings, and Supersonics, each featuring key players like Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Gary Payton. Midwest teams are the Mavericks, Nuggets, Rockets, Timberwolves, Spurs, Jazz, and Grizzlies, with notable players such as Dirk Nowitzki, Tim Duncan, and Karl Malone. Short descriptions accompany each team, outlining their playing styles. This page is a preview of World Series Baseball 2K1, focusing on the extensive customization options available in the Player Create mode. This mode allows players to create their own baseball stars from scratch. You can tweak everything from body type and face to equipment like elbow guards, wristbands, batting gloves, bats, batting gloves, shoes, socks, and shin guards, each with numbered options. The Customize mode Also lets you edit team lineups, trade players, and even create all-star teams. The player creation process involves inputting details like name, position, and number, then selecting from a variety of parts and adjusting parameters. You can create both fielders and pitchers, with a team capacity of 14 fielders and 11 pitchers per VM. The page highlights the depth of player customization, allowing you to even choose pitching and batting forms, and features special forms for players like Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Orlando Hernandez, and Pedro Martinez. It mentions the game features 5 batting stances and 7 pitching forms, with 9 special forms for unique players. The next page is all about network play in NFL 2K1, announcing that online matches are now possible for Japanese gamers, just like in North America. It's got a how-to guide breaking down the setup into 5 easy steps. They highlight the ability to chat during games using a separate keyboard, which is great for trash talking or strategizing. There's also a checkpoint section, explaining that you can download the latest roster data to keep your teams up to date with all the real NFL player moves, like free agency and the draft, which really adds to the authenticity of the game. The next page is a preview for the adventure game Close to Prayer's Stand. Scheduled for release on April 19th, it introduces the Room Part system, a key gameplay feature focusing on retrieving memories. This room part comes in 3 types: normal, absence, and event. The goal in the room part is to find clues and hints to progress the story. The game also features a spiritual power mechanic, where players can use psychic abilities to move objects in the room. This is especially important during the normal room part, to interact with the heroine. The article explains how to use this spiritual power, which is necessary to advance the story. As a bonus, there's a campaign to win a signed autograph board. Close to Prayer's Stand centers on Motoki and his relationships with 4 heroines, crucial for regaining his lost memories. The game branches into different routes based on player choices and conditions related to each girl. Yuna's route, In a Dream, highlights her unrequited feelings for Motoki. Shoko's episode hints at a caring, perhaps maternal role. Koyuki's Sudden Change involves her spiritual powers and a dramatic collapse. Mai, found at the shared elementary school, offers Motoki advice and uniquely perceives his spiritual form. A lesson section stresses the importance of time in triggering events. Visiting specific locations, such as Kiritake Elementary and Izumi Minami Academy, at precise times is key to meeting different heroines and progressing the story. This page details the game Power Jet Racing 2001, highlighting newly discovered game modes. It introduces the balloon race mode, where players race watercraft and burst balloons on the course to earn points. Different balloon types, normal, deluxe, and bonus, offer varying points. The page also mentions other modes including Championship, Time Attack, VS Battle, and Technical Challenge, each offering distinct gameplay variations like racing against rivals in championships, time-based challenges, 2-player battles, and trick-based events. The preview emphasizes the importance of skillful turns and precise line control for success in the game, particularly in the balloon race mode, which demands techniques beyond just riding. This page continues the preview of Power Jet Racing 2001 and showcases 2 new courses, North Pole and Phantom Ship. The North Pole course is set in a frigid, icy sea, with towering ice walls presenting a dangerous racing environment, complete with oil rigs and submarines as obstacles. The Phantom Ship course takes a different turn, described as a lively amusement park attraction. It features underground waterways, spooky tunnels, and a giant ghost ship that acts as a major attraction and obstacle. The preview highlights that both courses offer branching paths and shortcuts, requiring players to make strategic choices. Furthermore, the courses feature various objects and explosive water columns that players must navigate, adding to the challenge. The text emphasizes that these courses are designed to be more than just racing. They are like attractions within a theme park, filled with surprises and unique elements. The next page focuses on Le Mans 24 Hours for the Dreamcast, detailing various game modes. The Championship mode involves racing through a series of races to accumulate driver points, with 8 Grand Prix series available, each ranging from 2 to 5 races. You begin with the Rookie GT class and unlock further Grand Prix classes as you progress. The game supports up to 4 players in multiplayer with split-screen time. Time Trial mode includes a ghost car feature allowing you to race against your best performance. The Progress mode lets you track your game progress and see unlocked content. The page also explains the 3 car classes in the game: LMGTP, closed-top prototype cars; LMP, open-top prototype cars, and GTS, cars based on street-legal models, highlighting that private teams often participate in this class, and Viper cars are currently dominating. This page showcases more content for Le Mans 24 Hours. It highlights additional racecourses included in the game beyond Le Mans, Suzuka, and Bugatti, such as Donington Park GP, described as a historical course in the English East Midlands, with undulating terrain and challenging high-speed sections. Catalunya GP in Spain is introduced as a 4.747 km high-speed circuit, emphasizing cornering techniques and slipstreaming. Brno is presented as a 5.403 km Czech circuit used in international events, with varied elevation and long straights, requiring careful line selection. The page also mentions short courses, which are shorter versions of existing tracks, achieved by cutting out sections of the full courses, noting this is the first time such short courses are included in a game. The bottom section of the page reveals 13 more cars that will be available in the game, primarily LMP and LMGTP class machines from 1999. It mentions the BMW V12 LMR and the Audi R8R, alongside the Nissan R391. Car manufacturers listed include Audi R8C, Audi R8R, Panoz LMP Spider, Nissan R391, Nissan R390, Mercedes CLK-LM, BMW V12 LMR, Toyota GT1, and Marcos Montara LM600, and Marcos Esperante GTR. The next page features a strategy guide for Rhapsody of Zephyr. This guide covers gameplay up to the town of Libreville and also includes shop data. The focus is on the areas of Gaisharu Town and Gaisharu Forest, described as areas without major story events, but containing sub-events that players should check out, especially in Gaisharu Town. The guide suggests completing the Fire Dragon Shrine at this stage. It also mentions that using escape commands in battles can be effective and reduce risks, especially in tight spaces. Treasure item lists are provided for both Gaisharu Town and Gaisharu Forest. The guide details a sub-event in Gaisharu Town, where players can receive items like a Bresem and Diagem by running around the town a certain number of times and speaking to a soldier at location A on the map. Finally, it points out that Memphis is also accessible at this point in the game, allowing players to shop and gather treasures there. This page continues the strategy guide for Rhapsody of Zephyr, focusing on the areas Nicosia and Libreville. The guide provides a walkthrough for navigating these towns, detailing key locations and events to trigger. In Nicosia, the guide explains how to recruit Chris in location C and defeat the boss at location E. It mentions Sharon is in the inn, and players should get a sign from Farmer Village. After Nicosia, the guide directs players to Libreville from the Zephyr headquarters, noting to head towards the question mark on the Caracassu Forest map from the previous guide. The page lists treasures in Nicosia, Libreville, and Antananarivo Mountain Path, including items like Ether Drink, Mana Extract, Sun Simi, Impact Smallball, Kyrium, Earth Dragon Guard, Thunder Wand, Knight's Mantle, Silver Sword, Elixir, and Earth Dragon Guard. 4 sub-events within Libreville are described, including Underground Dungeon of the Arena, Chaos Cube Legend, Legend of the Bridge, and Procurement of Liquor. These sub-events involve talking to specific NPCs in locations marked on the map to receive items like Accessory, Clan Shadow Image, and Talisman. The guide also points out a hidden item in the deepest part of the Fire Dragon Shrine, called Dragon's Scale. This page presents a compilation of shop data, detailing the inventories of various stores across different locations. It appears to be a guide for players to understand where to purchase items in different villages and areas. Locations highlighted include Caracassu Village, Pretoria Village, Marine Kids Cave, Faro Village, and Zephyr Falcon Headquarters. Within these locations, different types of shops are listed, such as accessory shops, weapon shops, pharmacies, armor shops, secret shops, and even a fighting arena. For each shop, a list of available items and their prices are presented in table format. This page helps players identify the best places to acquire specific items and equipment within the game, likely Rhapsody of Zephyr, continuing from the previous page's strategy guide content. The next page continues the shop guide, detailing item availability in various towns. Featured locations include Auto Field Shop in Gay Sill Town offering weapons and accessories, Memphis's Linda Obasan's Sundries and Kusahara Pharmacy, and Nicosia's Seraph's Shop, and Kadera Pharmacy. Libreville presents the Weapon Shop Dragonbuster and Accessory Shop Flame Flower Wind. The guide also includes information about weapon minimum requirements for effective combat and highlights powerful magic items obtainable in sub-dungeons,
such as the Phoenix Egg and Crimson Hellkite Dragon Scale, showcasing their unique magical properties like fire and thunder attacks.
The next page is a guide for the strategy game 100 Swords. It details Stage 6, Whispering and Crying, where players must defeat enemies alongside Rafe. The guide covers the Muviora Outbreak mission, explaining the storyline involving Princess Fals and Errol. It provides gameplay tips for conquering the enemy base, focusing on resource acquisition with cavalry and defensive tactics using archers and golems. The page includes unit data, shell item information obtainable in Chapter 6 that enhance attack or defense, and a unit placement table for the Muviora Outbreak mission, showing initial positions for characters like Fals and Errol, and various unit types like archers, cavalry, and golems on the mission map. The next page continues the strategy guide for 100 Swords, now focusing on Stage 19, Arlington Corridor, and Stage 20, Front of the Capital District. Stage 19, Arlington Corridor, is a mission where you must guide Fals to point within 40 minutes. The victory condition is Fals reaching the destination, while defeat occurs if Fals dies or doesn't reach the goal in time. The strategy involves breaking trees to create a path, recruiting units such as archers and mages at various points marked on the map, and utilizing terrain for defensive and offensive advantages, specifically using archers or catapults at locations marked A to 7. Stage 20, Front of the Capital District, requires you to destroy the enemy base within 40 minutes. Victory is achieved by destroying the base in time, and defeat occurs if your main base is destroyed.
The strategy emphasizes resource management and cavalry use. It suggests starting by gathering resources with infantry and building barracks, then deploying cavalry to gather more resources while using infantry and archers for defense. The guide advises securing resource points, weakening enemies with mages and cavalry, and finally sending cavalry units to conquer the enemy base, aiming to have at least 3 cavalry units leading the charge.
The next page presents the strategy guide for 100 Swords, continuing with Stage 21, titled The Oni of the Rear, and Stage 22, The Last Battle. Stage 21 requires you to defend your main camp from Luprastri attacks for 15 minutes to achieve victory. The guide advises rapidly moving all units to the main camp area at the start. It emphasizes placing the leader in a shelter and garrisoning all units within the main camp. For resource acquisition, it suggests dispatching cavalry units to Resource Point 5 to defeat enemies and gather resources. The strategy highlights prioritizing defense, using golems and siege weapons to protect the main camp. Stage 22, The Last Battle, tasks you with defending the Grand Camp while attacking the Mascar and Luprastri camps. The guide stresses quickly securing resources and developing advanced units and siege weaponry. It recommends early deployment of siege weapons, particularly catapults, and utilizing horsemen to scout and harass enemy units. The objective is to manage resources effectively, develop your army, and eliminate both the Mascar and Luprastri camps while safeguarding the Grand Camp. The page includes a unit initial deployment table detailing unit names, HP, numbers, types, and classifications for both Allied Grand Forces and enemy Mascar and Luprastri factions for these stages. This page details the PK frame system in 100 Swords, explaining how it influences gameplay by adjusting leader and unit abilities based on person and king levels. The person level reflects individual growth, affecting leader stats such as HP and SP, and unit numbers. The KI Ying level represents leadership ability, influencing the AI of units under command. The page shows how both levels are raised through in-game choices. There are tables displaying how leader stats, HP, SP, unit count, change with PK levels for various leaders like Rafe, Little Alps, Big Alps, Nell, Anna, Somerville, Gelki, Errol, Falsis, Theophan, ACCA, Ortolu, Colt, Yuri, Saint Soldier, Vari, and Edit. Another table outlines the AI commands acquired at different king levels, such as Defeat Them, Protect Me, Advance Like the Wind, and Maintain Distance. These AI commands determine unit behavior in battle. In essence, this page is a guide to understanding and utilizing the PK frame system to strategically enhance your leaders and units in 100 Swords. This page continues the strategy guide for 100 Swords, focusing on how player choices impact the game and lead to different story branches and character relationships. It details crucial decision points in episodes 1 to 6, listing the conversation context, available player choices, and the resulting PK frame influence, person and king levels. For example, in episode 1, choice number 1, when Joan is being unreasonable, choosing apologize gives a PK frame of 1 and 2. Another example from episode 2, when Little Alps is warned about reckless pursuit, choosing I apologize to everyone grants a PK frame of 0 and 4. The guide highlights specific choices, like in episode 3, choice 03, selecting hug her close leads to a different episode path, emphasizing the impact of player choices on the story's direction and character interactions. It also mentions that depending on the choices in episode 1, the master of the unbreakable fortress will be decided, affecting the scenarios in later episodes, such as episode 3, where Nell will appear in the forest of Mescaliote, or Joan will be dispatched in the scenario for the queen. The checkpoint boxes point out key decision moments. Episode 1's 24th choice determines the master of the unbreakable fortress. Episode 3's third choice changes the episode, and episode 4's 14th choice changes in battle. It encourages players to try all choices in episode 5 to see different reactions and enjoy the depth of the game. This page continues the 100 Swords strategy guide, now focusing on episodes 4, 5, and 6. It breaks down key decision points in each episode, listing the situation, player choices, and their impact on the PK frame, which influences character relationships and story progression. In episode 4, Bone Ruin Ground's Fierce Battle, the guide details how to react when Edith cries at a funeral and how to respond to Ashley regarding assassins among the mourners. Episode 5, Black Forest's Evildoers, covers choices like responding to Hanna-Barbera's financial woes and dealing with disagreements between three ministers. Episode 6, Paradise Lost, includes scenarios such as accepting tea from Errol and responding to adults asking about happiness, with choices affecting the PK frame. The guide highlights checkpoints. In episode 4, choice 14 impacts battle deployments. In episode 5, choice 14, after asking all questions, a criminal might appear. The bottom section, Network Guild, discusses network battles in 100 Swords, specifically when vision restriction settings are in play. It advises players on troop deployment and leader utilization in these battles. It also invites submissions to the Dreamcast Magazine 100 Swords Network Guild at the provided address, and mentions the next issue will be released on March 23rd. This page is a strategy guide for the Dreamcast fishing game Fish Eyes Wild, focusing on fishing in the South American Amazon River branch stage. It details the stage's characteristics, noting deep water with standing trees and sunken logs that create structures ideal for fish habitats. The guide advises players to target pirucas, emphasizing they are large and powerful, like barramundi or rainbow trout. For strategy points, it recommends targeting pirucas and highlights the importance of using heavy rods and reels, along with frog lures. The page lists the types of fish players can expect to catch in this stage: pirarucu, jao, piranha, and piranha, and suggests effective lures like frog lures, spoons, and minnow-type lures. The guide also provides 4 key steps to successfully catching fish: casting accurately to where the fish are, hooking the fish with a quick reaction when it bites, fighting the fish by reeling carefully in the opposite direction of its movements to avoid breaking the line, and finally, landing the fish by reeling it in gently once it's tired, taking care as some fish may still thrash even when weakened. This guide covers 2 Fish Eyes Wild stages: the Amazon River, midstream, and the Pantanal, wetlands. In the Amazon, target peacock bass, tucunareas, with topwater lures like poppers and crankbaits, focusing casts centrally to avoid black piranha. Reel quickly and avoid jerking to escape piranha. The Pantanal offers diverse fish, with dorado being the prized catch. Dorado are often bottom dwellers, so use S-spoons. S-poppers can be effective when the water temperature is around 26 degrees Celsius and Dorado are near the surface. Dorado, also known as the river tiger, are powerful and aggressive, growing up to 1 meter. Acquire S-spoons by catching 4 bluegill in the Kitami Reservoir. This page is dedicated to training in Sakatsuku Tokudai Gao J-League Professional Soccer Club, Vo Tsukuru. known internationally as J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru Advance. It emphasizes that player development is crucial for building the strongest club and that training is key. The page showcases 4 types of training: system training, tactical training, position training, and strength training, each with example messages displayed after training sessions. It explains that these messages reflect the player's understanding of the training type, and that the coach's feedback varies depending on the training system chosen. For system training, it highlights the importance of understanding the chosen system, like 361 or 442, and aims for players to perfectly grasp the system. Tactical training focuses on understanding the tactical aspects, with messages indicating improved tactical awareness. Position training targets specific positions like F, W, MF, DF, and GK, with messages varying based on the position and training effectiveness. Strength training aims to improve kikuka, kicking power, and kyoryokuai, cooperation, noting that while strength training is important for all positions, it is particularly challenging to reach the highest levels for forwards. The page advises paying attention to these training messages to gauge player progress and tailor training accordingly for optimal development. This page continues the guide for J-League Pro Soccer Club Otsukuru Advance, discussing training limitations and introducing the satellite facility. It explains that each player has a growth peak, and after this point, their abilities barely improve. Training effectively before this peak is crucial to maximize their potential. Scout ratings impact a player's growth potential, meaning players with low scout evaluations may not improve much even with extensive training. The page then introduces the new satellite facility. This facility allows you to scout and secure talented players early. However, players in the satellite facility can become dissatisfied if they aren't given game time and may even leave. Therefore, it's important to give satellite players playing time to keep them happy. The page details 4 training types with example messages for different training levels, level low to level high. Stamina strengthening training focuses on stamina and mental strength. Messages indicate stamina levels and progress. Explosive power strengthening training improves reaction speed and running speed. Messages reflect reaction speed and overall explosive power. Set play training. Common messages for all players focusing on set play technique and understanding. It emphasizes practicing marking the opponent. Minigame training indicates rapid progress for talented players, increasing playing style, muscle strength, system, and tactics abilities. Messages highlight overall performance in minigames and game readiness. This page is a guide to Phantasy Star Online Ver.2, focusing on raising mags effectively. It explains that a mag's shape changes at levels 10, 35, and 50. Point 1 explains mag shapes change based on level milestones. Point 2 highlights that a mag's POW, DEX, and MIIN stats are crucial for its evolution. The guide mentions that when a mag levels up at level 50 or 55, the highest stat among POW, DX, and MIIN determines its evolution path and section ID, using Varaha or Karma as examples. The page introduces, "This is the batch, complete mag manufacturing method," explaining how to utilize the tables of preferences, say Konami, to influence mag stats through feeding them items. It states that mag preferences change, and feeding them preferred items efficiently raises their stats. The tables show different items and their stat changes: Synchro, IQ, DF, POW, Dex, Mind, across 6 preference phases, say 1 to say 6. Items like monomate, dimate, trimate, monofluid, defluid, trifluids, antidote, antipara, Sol atomizer, Moon atomizer, and Star atomizer are listed along with their stat modifications in each phase. The page also includes screenshots showing the mag interface in Phantasy Star Online Ver.2 and emphasizes understanding mag preferences to raise them effectively. The next page continues, the Phantasy Star Online Ver.2 Mag Guide, focusing on recommended mags for hunters. It details the different mag evolutions across 4 stages, categorized by stat focus: POW type, Dex type, and MIIN type. For each mag stage and type, it lists specific mag names, the conditions for evolution based on stat priorities like POW being greater than Dex and MIIN, and section IDs being either odd or even. It also shows each mag's preferred items, learned photon blasts such as Gora, Byra, Estra, Mimilla, and Eula, and actions like Defense, Resta, Shifta, and Deband, and Reverser. The page also introduces rare mags that can be created using mag cells. It specifically mentions mag cell 502 to create mags like Petri and Chelub, and mag cell 213 to create mags such as Prita and Krata, with specific level and section ID requirements for each. A screenshot shows in-game action from Phantasy Star Online, Ver. 2. In summary, this page serves as a comprehensive guide to mag evolution and customization for Hunter players in Phantasy Star Online, Ver. 2. This guide details Ranger MAG evolutions in Phantasy Star Online Ver. 2, focusing on POW, DEX, and MIND types. It covers 4 stages of evolution for each type, listing specific MAG names and the conditions for advancement. These conditions include stat priorities, section ID, preferred items, and learned photon blasts. The guide also describes super rare mags created using special items. To obtain these, you must meet specific level requirements and use rare items on a mag. Examples include Chow Mag, level requirement and use of Chow no Kokoro; Opa Opa Mag, combined level and Opa Opa no Kokoro; Pian Mag, level 120 Chow with sync rate and IQ and use of Pian no Kokoro; and Omo Chow Mag, 2 parameters at level requirement and use of Omo Chow no parts. This page is a guide focused on recommended MAG evolutions, specifically for Force characters in Phantasy Star Online, Ver. 2. It highlights DEF type MAGs, which are exclusive to Forces, and become available when the DEF stat reaches 45 by level 200. The page is structured in stages of MAG evolution, from Stage 1 to Stage 4. Stage 1 features MAG with no listed conditions. In Stage 2, Ulitra is shown. Stage 3 details POW type and DEX type MAGs, like Shumba and Ashivan. Finally, Stage 4 showcases a variety of mags categorized by stat priority. POW type mags such as Naraka and Lavana, Dex type mags including Rivu and Sea Otter, and Mind type mags like Namuchi and Andaka. Each MAG entry lists its name, conditions for evolution based on stat priorities like POW, DX, and MIN, and sometimes specific section IDs for certain MAGs in Stage 4. It also includes a preference number and details the MAG's actions labeled A, B, C, and D, which are photon blast actions like defense buffs, Resta for healing, Shifta and Deband for attack and defense boosts, and Reverser for reviving. Some MAGs learn photon blasts, such as Gora, Byra, Mycilla, and Eula, and Esta Prella. The page emphasizes the importance of DEF for Force characters, suggesting players aim to reach DEF 45 by level 200. At the bottom, there's also information for readers to submit to Ragken with a contact email address and postal address. Dreamcast Magazine's reader submissions highlight hidden game techniques. For Tokyo Highway Challenge 2, beating Speedbox under true ending conditions unlocks Snake Hip Shake's music during replays. In Romania number 203, pressing start, releasing, and holding A+B during the demo reveals the protagonist, Niji. A separate tip details accessing hidden content on GDROMs via PC. Reading a Dreamcast GDROM, like Blue Stinger, reveals OMake content, including images and voice files. The magazine also announces a contest for finding game secrets, offering prizes like robot piggy banks, book vouchers, and Dreamaga goods for the best submissions related to hidden game features. This page for Dreamcast Magazine focuses on Eternal Arcadia, known internationally as Skies of Arcadia. It highlights the unique air pirate crews in the game, noting that crew members often resemble their captains. The page explains that in Eternal Arcadia, various sky pirates exist, from those seeking to see the world to those fighting for personal gain like Barboa. It mentions that crew members are influenced by their captain's strong will and ambitions. There's a 4-panel comic strip called Eternal 4 Coma Theater, featuring popular enemy Elmo from the game, and it jokes about the character's popularity exceeding even Dragon Quest Slimes. The page also introduces Gilder's crew, explaining that Gilder's crew members are like clouds, appearing and disappearing. It describes Gilder as a charming rogue and introduces the crew of his ship, the Laudia. It highlights their loyalty and effectiveness in battle, mirroring Gilder's own character. A section titled Sky Pirate Image Corner showcases fan-submitted illustrations of sky pirates, crediting the artists and their locations like Saitama and Aichi prefectures. Finally, Sky is Here, in the Sky column, announces a reader submission section for Sky, Eternal Arcadia, related content. They are seeking submissions for Great Sky Mysteries, which are questions about the world of Eternal Arcadia. Soaring Sky Pirates Hunters, which wants short stories about the super pirate hunter Simon, and mentions the current theme is If Simon Was a Girl. This address for Dreamcast Magazine is also listed for readers to send in their contributions. This page is from Raspberry 4 Magazine, focusing on a Graduation Congratulations Special edition. It features a worry consultation room, where the Raspberry 4 team answers reader questions. The team members, Hiyori, Azusa, and Yoko, share their personal memories, which appear to be anecdotes about school life and friendships. There's a section for reader mail and email submissions, and a corner called Jet Get General Major Offensive Battle for reader contributions. Overall, it's a reader interaction page centered around personal experiences and advice, within the context of the magazine and its Raspberry 4 feature, rather than game-specific content. This page is all about explaining what DVDs are, in a special 100th commemorative issue of a magazine that seems to be related to anime. The article title is DVD, What Is It? It aims to simply introduce DVDs as essential media for anime, movies, games, and even PCs, avoiding complicated explanations. There's a large image of a DVD and a photo of people browsing DVDs in a store, showing they are readily available. A simple diagram titled, What DVDs Can Do, clearly links DVDs to both game and movie, illustrating their versatility. The text explains that DVDs became popular because they can store high-quality video, audio, and data, surpassing older formats like CDs and videotapes. It positions DVDs as the ideal media for home video and data storage for games and PCs, highlighting their multi-purpose nature as part of an IT revolution. The article concludes by stating that the 21st century is hot for DVDs. DVDs were developed in the 1990s to overcome the storage limitations of CDs, particularly for video and large data files. The demand for greater capacity arose as CDs became insufficient. DVDs offer significantly more storage than CDs, solving the inconvenience of multi-disc setups for watching movies. The development involved a standardization process. Initially, companies like Matsushita, Toshiba, and Sony had conflicting ideas, eventually agreeing on a unified standard based on Toshiba's method. The DVD Consortium was formed to define specifications. DVDs utilize a denser format than CDs, with narrower tracks and shorter pits, increasing storage. They consist of two bonded 0.6 mm discs. Various DVD formats exist, including single and double-sided and single or double-layer options, offering storage capacities ranging from 4.7 gigabytes to 17 gigabytes. Large capacity DVDs exist, but widespread adoption faces technical hurdles. This article explores the early days of DVD technology, detailing various formats like DVD audio, DVD video, and the different recordable options, DVD RAM, DVD-R, DVD-RW, and DVD plus RW. It highlights the initial confusion caused by competing rewritable formats. The piece traces DVD adoption, emphasizing its growth from 1999 onward, boosted by DVD audio, DVD RAM 2.0, and the influence of the PlayStation 2 and PCs with DVD drives. It also predicted the importance of recordable DVD technology. Technically, the article explains the data storage structure and mentions PC industry involvement in setting standards. Finally, it defines DVD multi as drives supporting multiple formats and mentions regional codes and copy protection. This article explores the burgeoning use of DVDs in gaming, particularly around the launch of the PlayStation 2. DVDs were becoming mainstream, though adoption for game software was in its early stages. The PS2 was the sole console with a DVD drive, with the Xbox also entering the market with DVD capabilities. The article highlights the benefits of DVD-ROM, 7x, the capacity of CD-ROM, for games, but cautions that increased development costs could slow adoption. Region codes on DVDs are also discussed, impacting playback across different geographic areas. The article also compares hardware specs of the Xbox and PS2. While the article anticipates that home consoles will move toward DVDs, it contrasts this with Nintendo's GameCube, which opted for a proprietary disc format, citing cost considerations and a desire to control access to DVD content. The popularity of DVDs for movies like Matrix is mentioned, showing the growing demand for DVD software. This page delves into the world of DVD technology and its impact on home entertainment, particularly gaming. It highlights the improved audio and video quality DVDs offer compared to older formats, emphasizing surround sound and clearer picture quality thanks to MPEG-2's IPB frame technology. The article discusses how the PlayStation 2's release made DVD players more accessible and affordable. It showcases a portable DVD player and a Detective Holmes DVD BOX as examples of readily available DVD video content. There's also a look at the Pioneer DVR 2000, a home DVD recorder, though it notes this technology is still expensive. A significant portion focuses on DVD copy protection, explaining technologies like Macrovision, CSS, and Watermark that were implemented to prevent unauthorized copying of DVD video discs. Finally, the page introduces the game Majo Kari no Yoru ni DVG, Night of the Witch Hunt DVG, a visual novel game announced for DVD. It's described as a multi-scenario adult game originally released on DOS and Windows, now enhanced with full anime voice and H scenes for its DVD release in 2001. The game is by ISLE Team/Riva and is aimed at players 18 and over who own DVD players. The next page is focused on PC DVD technology in 2001, highlighting that half of new PCs were now equipped with DVD drives. Pie charts show the breakdown of drive types in desktop and laptop computers, indicating the increasing adoption of DVD-ROM and DVD-RW drives alongside CD-ROM and CD-RW. The page discusses setting up DVD playback on older PCs, noting that older Pentium 2 systems might need decoder cards for smooth MPEG-2 playback. It touches on the situation with PC DVD software, stating that DVD-ROM games are less common than on consoles, with many DVD-ROM releases being re-releases of existing CD-ROM titles. The action RPG YS Eternal is mentioned as a game related to this context. The page also provides a basic explanation of DVD terminology in a PC context, covering DVD VIDEO playback methods, image resolution improvements of DVD video compared to older formats and TV resolutions, various PC connection types for DVD drives like EDE, ATAPI, SCSI, USB, and IEEE 1394, and read speeds. There is also a screenshot from the game YS Eternal to illustrate the visual aspect. This page features a review section discussing the DVD market in 2001, highlighting the competition and the depth of the DVD world. It mentions that the DVD VIDEO market has grown to rival VTR. There is also an interview with Takashi Kudo, a floor manager at Ishimaru Denki Soft 1 in Akihabara, who talks about the DVD market from a retailer's perspective, noting sales starting in 1999 and continuing market growth. He mentions DVD movie prices around 2,000 yen, but notes anime DVDs are more expensive, ranging from 5,000 to 6,000 yen. This page also showcases a present section, advertising prizes for readers. These include promotional DVD posters for Mobile Suit Gundam, Char's Counterattack, Mobile Suit Gundam F91, Digimon Adventure 02, Ojamaho Doremi, Puni Puni Poemi, and Magic Knight Ray Earth Gaiden. Other prizes are a FLCL clear cigarette case, OVA non-sale telephone cards for Elf Princess Rain and Works Collection, a Terrors trading card set, and a Berry Best clear file album featuring singer Mayumi Iizuka. The page concludes with application instructions for these prizes, requiring a postcard with personal details and impressions of the special feature, with a deadline of March 30th. It is also noted that the Elf Princess Rain telephone cards are for applicants aged 18 and over. Sega, a management simulation game exclusively for D-Direct, challenges players to develop games. Released on March 29th for 5,800 yen, the single-player experience focuses on building a development team. Players must strategically manage team composition, director, designer, programmer, and resources, including budget and parameters. The game involves researching, developing in various locations, and overcoming challenges. Players will navigate RPG-style gameplay and ultimately aim for a release date, impacting sales.
The initial development phases emphasize team composition. Game quality is initially less important than resource management. Screenshots reveal the game's interface and in-game events, as well as examples of games that can be created, such as Fantasy Zone and Alex Kidd. The page emphasizes the importance of creator personalities and abilities, hinting at unforeseen events that could impact development. Final stages include release decisions and considering market trends. This page details the game development process within Sega, a game where you manage a game development studio. It breaks down the development cycle into key stages, starting with development status, which shows the game's progress as a percentage, expected value, which impacts sales, and equipment, which affects development efficiency. You'll issue commands to your creators, like instructions, where you can motivate or push them, and talk, to gauge their status and morale. The other command covers miscellaneous actions. As development progresses, you can hear game demos to assess the game's quality and make adjustments. The page also mentions anticipating the Dogma Co. release date prediction, engaging in public relations advertisements to boost hype, managing personnel, investing in equipment, and finally, releasing the game. 4 examples of games that can be created in Sega are showcased. Bare Knuckle, known internationally as Streets of Rage for Mega Drive, Dynamite Headdy, also for Mega Drive, Shining Force for Mega Drive, and Wonder Boy IV Monster World 2i, again for Mega Drive, highlighting the variety of classic Sega-style games you can aim to produce within the game. This page from Sega, guided by Zergale, offers tips on game development. The goal is achieving sales targets. The example shows 83.5297% of a sales target achieved. Advice focuses on securing early funding. Make a quick line of money, using that capital for sequels and ports. Effective advertising is crucial. Advertising is certain. Advising players to choose ads based on budget and impact. Releasing games strategically based on market trends is also important. Zergale recommends targeting peak months like December, referencing a graph of market fluctuations. 2 SGGG topics are included. Discussions on game design and strategy. SGGG topics 2. Midsummer and Midwinter Strategy. Comic Market. Discusses the Comic Kit event as a major sales opportunity. Finally, the page previews 3 games, New Shinobi Legend and Mr. Bones for Sega Saturn, and the in development Samba de Amigo Verde 2000 for Dreamcast. Sega, a game crafted for dedicated Sega fans, prioritized a niche audience over broad market appeal. Developers aimed to create a memorable experience and limited the marketing efforts, focusing instead on offering something special to their core fans. Marketing manager Tadashi Takazaki reveals the game was always envisioned as a limited edition, including collectible items like pin badges and t-shirts, with the bonus items costing more than the game itself. He expressed delight at the demand, despite the limited availability. Hitmakers Taku Sasahara viewed Sega as a celebration of the Dreamcast era's anything goes spirit, hoping it would resonate with players, particularly Dreamcast Magazine readers, who would appreciate its humor. The page showcased the game and a photo of the limited edition pin set, highlighting the fan service approach. This page reveals a secret character for the game, Air Tricks. The character is named Zack, and is described as a more bad version of the character Spidey, with similar trick commands. The page details Zack's special tricks, including boneless, back loop, and airwalk, showing the button inputs for each. It also details cool combos, with levels 1 to 4, again with button input combinations. Zack's backstory describes him as a mysterious street skater who appears in skate parks, with a powerful and wild skating style, making him popular. Despite his rough appearance, he seems to enjoy skateboarding. Bunny, Tony's twin sister and a skating star in Air Tricks, is introduced. She boasts similar skating styles and high combo abilities, though her jump is slightly lower than Tony's. Bunny features special tricks like Niagara Fall and Dog Walk Grind, with button inputs detailed. The guide also presents cool combo levels. Her backstory describes her as a bright girl who enjoys skateboarding. To unlock Bunny, players insert a coin, hold left/right select, and press start.
effective from April 1st. The development team shares insights.
Kuo Koguchi highlights air tricks as fun for all players. Akichika Oto emphasizes challenges and special tricks for achieving S rank. Masahiko Kitaguchi suggests playing in good spirits with friends, enjoying the game's calorie-burning aspect.
This page of Arcade Express Volume 82 introduces the new arcade game Taiko no Tatsujin, known internationally as Taiko Drum Master. It's described as a fun, festival-themed rhythm game from Namco for 12 players. The page explains that players use drumsticks to hit the taiko drum in sync, with musical rhythms and on-screen prompts, promising to bring the excitement of a Japanese festival to game centers. The How to Play section details using drumsticks, selecting music, and following on-screen cues to hit the drum at the right time. Successful hits build up a soul gauge, and maintaining a certain level of gauge clears stages. The steps are simple. Grip the drumsticks, match the timing shown on screen, and strike the drum. Screenshots illustrate gameplay with combo counters, scores, and note patterns. The arcade cabinet itself, featuring large taiko drums, is also shown, with text emphasizing the immersive festival atmosphere created by the game. A tagline at the bottom exclaims, "This is the festive event being held. Everyone drummed on." Taiko no Tatsujin, Taiko Drum Master, is a rhythm game where players hit a virtual taiko drum in time with the music. Gameplay involves hitting the center, dan, red notes, and rim, ka, blue notes, of the drum, with long rolls, renda notes, and strong hits also included. The game has a branching difficulty system that adjusts based on performance. Two-player mode allows simultaneous play, even if one player fails, as long as the other succeeds. The game features 26 songs covering various genres, from anime themes like Doraemon to J-pop and game music. Namco encourages players to try the simple and fun game, highlighting its engaging rhythm action and diverse song selection. This page presents episode 38 of the manga Doro Kurukuru, titled Communication Destination Helmet Scroll, by UEK USA. It kicks off by introducing the main characters. Guru Guru, a middle schooler scientist wannabe obsessed with creatures. Usagi, a rabbit-like creature with human intelligence. The dual-personality, human-faced Aoi-chan and Aoi-san, who are Guru Guru's helpers. Yasukun, Guru Guru's classmate and bodyguard for Macy-san. Macy-san, a school idol and narcissist. And Hiroshima-kun, who calls himself Rika-chan, a crossdresser who is assertive. The manga strip itself is humorous, showing Guru Guru being unexpectedly addressed by a rabbit character from a video game, who abruptly asks if they are friends. Guru Guru is confused. Later, Macy-san enthusiastically hugs Guru Guru, declaring him a friend, while Aoi-chan and Yasikun look on with mixed reactions. Aoi-chan expresses embarrassment, and Yasikun finds the situation bubbly and gooey. Macy-san then confronts Aoi-chan, asking about her relationship with Yasikun, leading to a comical argument between the two girls about who is not friends with whom, eventually ending with them hugging and apologizing. At the bottom there's a question asking when a collected book of Guru Guru will be released, with the reply stating it's currently being planned and is a masterpiece by Yumichimaru from Chiba Prefecture. Lastly, there is a small panel at the bottom right, reminding readers to remember a character. Dreamcastrology presents weekly horoscopes, March 16th-22 ND, for all zodiac signs. Aries faces potential health issues and disagreements. Taurus may encounter tense situations requiring their opinion. Gemini is encouraged to be self-reliant. Cancer should avoid risky ventures. Leo might neglect themselves due to others' problems. Virgo faces minor injuries and illnesses. Libra will be drawn to their favorite things. Scorpio encounters disrupted romance. Sagittarius may feel uneasy with smooth progress. Capricorn will struggle with choices and low romance luck. Aquarius should not misinterpret closeness. Pisces has many opportunities. Each sign has a lucky color and item. This page is an advert for a reader prize giveaway in Dreamcast Magazine. Prizes include a Taiko no Tatsujin t-shirt featuring a cute illustration, Dreamcast-compatible software where 15 winners can choose their desired software released by March 23, 2001, Ultraman Cosmos goods, which are a notepad designed like a film clapboard, and a special towel. Other prizes are an original Dreamcast Magazine name card case, an original Dreamcast t-shirt, and a December Best Guilty Gear X Dreamcast Magazine monthly telecard, limited to 100. The advert includes application details, the deadline of March 22, 2001, and contact phone number. Below is also a preview of the next issue, April 6th and 13th issue, highlighting a 49-page special feature, and mentions games like Sakura Wars 3, Paris in Flames, Biohazard Code, Veronica Complete Version, Resident Evil Code, Veronica, Eve Zero Arc of the Matter, 24 Hours, Battleborg, Fighting Eyes, Handle Sword, and Let's Make a Pro Soccer Club. It also mentions sections like Dreamcast to Karaoke, Dreamcast Cast, and Deluxe Peripherals.
The next issue is announced for sale on March 23rd. There is also a list of editorial staff and contributors for the magazine. Finally, there's a list of winners from the March 9th issue prize draw.
The next page is an advert for the Dreamcast game Macross M3. It highlights a prize campaign with lucky draw cards included in the initial release of the game. Prizes include a Macross prize of a VF-1S Fighter Valkyrie model, a Max prize of Macross Complete Transformation Series VF-11B Thunderbolt model, a Melia prize offering various VF model plastic models, and a Moaramia prize of the Macross M3 Soundfile Mini Soundtrack CD. The number of winners for each prize tier is also listed. The advert also mentions the game is currently on sale with a standard price of 6,800 yen excluding tax, and provides website addresses for Macross Official HP and the game's M3 Official HP. This page is an advert for the Dreamcast game Ill Bleed, promoting it as the world's first haunted house-themed game. The advert features a woman dressed in a Halloween waitress outfit, named Moena Suzuki, holding the ILB Lead game box. It states the game will be in store from March 29th. Developed by Crazy Games, the advert includes their website for details on a true ending challenge. A small notice indicates the game contains violent content, and the price is listed as 7,900 yen.